Previously on Team X.
We're not going to join you. Sorry.
It seems perfectly safe.
No.
But
I'm going
not
to
safe.
He's very nice.
No, not nice.
No, Thunuk, no.
Not nice.
Take
not
that out
safe.
of your mouth.
Drop it.
Spit it out. Spit it out.
Spit it out right. What do you have in your mouth?
Oh, yeah. You know, I wrote a song once about something similar that's happening right now, And it goes a little something like this.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you,
It goes
fuck you,
like
eat
this.
shit.
You're not gonna touch my friends.
I detect your bullshit.
He starts playing his lute and he goes, the rabbit runs up the hill and down across the mossy fen. It runs around until it's time to rest its head again. Whatever the clever rabbit dreams, nothing's really as it seems. Along the way, it's time to play a game where we pretend. And he just keeps playing this song over and over again.
Oh wow.
I'm basically gonna cast thunder
My God.
under our feet.
How
And
many
hope
hit
it
points does
works.
Rock have?
I don't know.
This is rock.
I never thought I would have to ask that
It's like
question.
per foot of thickness. I don't actually.
Yeah.
The beautiful part, though, of Shatter is if you are going to give hit points to the ground,
Mhm.
it has disadvantage because it's stone.
Well, of
It's
course.
true.
Hang on, let's do this. How many hit points does Rock have in Dungeons and Dragons?
25 hit points. According to ADD,
5 hit points. I win because I can cast
immune to
up
poison
to
and
like
psychic damage.
5d8.
I'm going to point to him and I'm going to say, haven't you ever heard of personal space? Oh, I suppose not, since you're so impersonal and you take up so much space.
Oh my God.
And
You see your mother reach out with both hands, and she makes this grasping motion, and you feel like this magic wave wash over you, and you feel like this constriction, but you're able to kind of like shrug it off. But your cousins are suddenly held still. They suddenly stiffen up like they've been grasped by some kind of arcane, invisible hands. And she just looks at you and she says, it's time for all of you to get your treatment. And we're going now.
Jeez, B.
I guess we'll just start over again.
All right.
I mean,
let's...
just quickly do the
Rewind.
intros again.
Okay, let's try this again. Hi, good morning.
How about now?
Yeah, now you can hear me because it helps if I actually unmute the microphones when we do this. Let us try this again.
Hmm.
Hello, it's
Hi,
morning.
it is Sunday morning. You're going to get traffic and weather updates on the twos. I am Say Brian, otherwise known as Brian Wiggins. I am your dungeon master. We're all healthy now. We're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons. This might be our new time. And now we're going to go do the introductions. To my left, it is the darkest of upper left-hand corners.
That was like speedrun intro.
Which is fine.
Clues. Jen, my Jen Weaver, Tigranor Extraordinaire. Yvonne.
Hi. I was already reminded where I am. I'm Viking Goat. I play Thunder Challenge Ninja Domain Cleric, and big old capybara, nice person.
Run.
He's your hug-shaped friend.
Feed,
Hug-shaped
run.
friend.
Are you fucking doing the Ginyu Force thing up there in the
No,
corner?
no, no. I'm pointing to who's going
Okay.
next.
Because
We should be doing the Ginyu Force. There's enough of us.
careful there. No, we're not doing the Ginyu Force. No. I refuse. I would be the Ginyu Force who just crosses his arms and looks angry. Which,
I
to
wanna
be
see
fair,
Jen
is a
Mayo,
look.
though.
Be fair.
I am Hugon Valander, Human Battlemaster Fighter, and I think Hugon came out of that last fight the least
Scathed.
the least harmed out of everybody.
It is quite possible. He's your surly shaped person.
He is my surly anger shape. He's not a good or a nice man.
And then last but by no means least. Actually, we could say almost like the headliner in some ways. You know?
Listen, Eno is our frontline man.
He is the
I'm more of a byline. I'm Purple Monkey Robots or Roz, and but in this game I'm playing Eno, the Tiefling Bard.
he is
Yeah.
Barge?
Huh?
Barge.
I didn't
Barge.
say
You
barge.
didn't say barge. He's not a garbage
Barge.
scow. He's a bard.
How
Barge.
dare you?
My hearing's correct today.
Bard.
When has he ever
Yeah.
called himself a barge?
Barge.
That's
I'm a barge, and
He
I'll be-
transports.
I
Oh,
identify
He
as a
transports
boat.
music and delight over the water.
Oh my god.
That is
He's not on the motherfucking boat. He is the
He
motherfucker.
is the motherfucking boat. So yeah, we're gonna play some dungeons, and we're gonna then do those dungeons with some dragons, and we're gonna put it all together in a little game we like to call Shadowrun. No, wait, that's a whole different
TOS.
thing. Sorry, we're not allowed to say that. Oh, I don't know.
I didn't know that.
Sure.
Why not? It's sure. Oh wait, there it is right there in the fine print. We are not allowed to mention any other TTRPG aside from properties owned by Wizards of the Coast. Okay.
Pathfinder. I mean, what?
Oh
Jewel-
fuck! Now we're in real trouble.
Oh, now it just goes black.
Now we're
Coming
fucked.
after
Now we're
us.
fucked.
It's gonna be like
I
the
see
Chevy.
choppers in the air.
It's gonna be like the Chevy Chase show. We're just gonna go to commercial and just never come back. So we're
their channel was shut down.
we're done. So we are gonna play some D&D. Guess I should have planned something for today.
You should have.
Wait, I did. I have it right here. We're going to deal with that in just a moment. As always, we have some charges that are aligned with our characters here, as well as myself. These charges allow them some special and fun powers that they may dip into. But when they do so, I get charges added to my little counter there. And then it's possible that all hell can break loose. Should we reach certain goals. You can see above my thing there, we have Dark Inspiration. If certain thresholds are met, I then use my Dark Inspiration to affect narrative and gameplay for better and or for worse. And I shall determine whether it is good or for bad using this coin right here. This is the Predator side, I believe. I can't quite see it. No, that's the Prey. That's
Oh, neat.
Predator.
Cool.
And this is a little coin that I got at PAX Unplugged from Nordic Dice, Norse Foundry.
Yep. Norse Foundry makes some good stuff.
They do make some
Got a
really fun
couple of
stuff.
their coins.
So, yes, they make very fun things. They make very fun things. And it was just like, oh, well, I'll get dice. Well, I'll get this too. Why not? Anyway, yes, and you can see that our Tinker Gnome has one as well, which is not surprised. Although she
I
might
got
have.
the whole
Oh my
set.
God, he's got 3. Look at. What we're
There's
basically
20
trying to say is Norse Foundry, please sponsor us.
These aren't from North. Actually,
It's
these
cheap. Shh. It's cheap. Sponsorship is cheap. And we'll work for dice.
Yeah.
Is basically what we're trying to say.
Yeah, I've got the Omen and the Gem coin.
Oh, very cool. Which now means that Clues is going to go buy her own coin press, so she can start minting her
It's
own.
actually not that
currency.
hard.
She's going to
It's not that
secede.
hard.
She's going to
There's
secede
plenty of
from.
other people to do it.
She's going to declare her own country and just declare her own currency. So, when we last left
Federal offense.
our protagonists, heroes, some might say, they might be to varying degrees of right or wrong, but because everyone is the hero of their own story. They when we last left them, though, they had infiltrated the Steinhütten. Am I saying that correctly?
Good enough.
Close enough.
I want to get closer, though. But anyway, Stone Giant compound in search of Thunuk's family, the Gentle Trunk clan. And we had a pretty epic, if not one-sided rap battle, like verse battle, against their leader. I'm going to say pretty much all around, with the exception of, I mean, damage was taken, but it was a pretty one-sided affair as far as the combat that happened there. But Thunuk's mother was determined not to be Thunuk's mother, but something else entirely. Hugon
Gross.
and
Yeah.
gross and icky, and Hugon himself had a bit of a conversation, a bit of an existential conversation.
Yeah, a concerning conversation of, hey, mortal, I'm
Yeah.
going to meddle in your affairs.
With the Red Knight, the Red Lady, known in
true.
some circles, the Master of Lanceboard. But the long and short of it was that the compound was destroyed. Seemingly so, as it began to collapse in on itself, thanks to Drenmai Gemweaver eliminating a load-bearing floor. Apparently that was very structurally integral to this entire place, as well as opening up a portal to something, whatever was underneath it. But there was awfulness in there. But it looked like the majority of the clan had gotten out of the compound, and we had last left with it looked like a billowing dust coming out of the main entranceway as Thunuk was trying to help one of the elderly members of his family, of his extended family. And it does need to be mentioned that the Gentle Trunk clan, the Gentle Trunk family, was it a family or clan? I'm not quite sure it was ever determined exactly how.
Let's say family.
Family, yeah.
Time seems ostentatious.
It does have notes to it.
It does. Well, I mean, listen, you have like dwarven clans, right?
Which
I mean,
are like
that's
political bodies.
Yeah.
As well as families.
but yeah, this is family, but the thing about the Gentle Trunk family is that it is not necessarily blood relation as much as it is a chosen relations, which actually could indicate an even tighter bond if you really think about it. They're not forced to be family. There are blood relatives within this, as we determined when Hugon met Thunuk's older brother, his big brother, the buffling, the buff
buffling.
halfling Kronk, who's somehow Thunuk's older brother, big brother, right? But as we left our scene, the rest of the team had made it out. They had ushered the rest of the family members out, and dust and debris was billowing out, and Thunuk had been engulfed in this billowing, roiling cloud of detritus as it came bursting out of the compound. But in that true hero's moment, Thunuk, that you see the tall silhouette in the dust as Thunuk comes out, bringing this older great aunt with him. Basically, has her like he's carrying her on his back. He just because he's Thunuk, and we've proven that Thunuk is if not anything strong. He is a strong boy. He is a strong boy. His
Strong
hugs,
like bull.
his hugs could be lethal. You never know. But he comes running out. But we're gonna fast forward approximately 2 days from now, and you and the Gentle Trunk family, you as in all of you here, everyone in this group here, have been on the run for 2 days solid.
Running
I'm
from
tired
what?
then.
Because every time that you've gotten, well, as Thunuk was able to make his way out, and as you just started to kind of reconnoiter and try to figure out who's here, who's not here, trying to make sense of the chaos, because Thunuk has not seen his family in decades, if the timeline holds, and they have not seen Thunuk, and there was some miscommunication between where Thunuk was, where they were. A lot of chaos as they're coming out from under the thrall of
It's
whatever.
like a family reunion where everybody's not sure if they're related and they kinda don't like each other.
Well, no, the clan or
At the start.
but
At
it
the
was
start.
more like they're coming out. They're almost like as it's you're waking up from a dream, because they were clearly under the thrall of whatever this
Oh, that's
one
right, I forgot
stone
about
giant was. But
And
as
there's
that's
there's also the possibility that not everyone is who they seem to be.
this is true. It could be, but
Hag trubs.
so there's a concern, because what they thought was Thunuk's mother was not in fact Thunuk's mother. It was
Gonna get
what
Cronenberg
appeared to
up in
be
here.
a night hag, and her method of revelation was not entirely pleasant. But right as you're starting to try to and there's a lot of confusion, a lot of talk, but right as all of this is happening, you hear the sound of, it's almost like porcelain on stone, little tippy taps of porcelain on stone, followed by an odd reverberance of child's laughter.
For God's sake.
Don't
And
like
you start to hear a buzzing noise.
It's those goddamn dolls. Isn't it?
And I think we colloquially named them the creepypastas, and I think we need to find a better name for them. But one of these little, it looks like an old abandoned doll, where one of the eyes is missing because it's just been sitting out for a while, and the face is kind of dirty and maybe a little crushed in on one side. The fingers don't reach all the way to the end. Maybe a couple of tips of the fingers have broken off, but it comes waddling out. But the difference being is that the body has been completely encased and ensconced by what appears to be a wasp's nest. And these wasps and bugs, or whatever they are swarming around it. And it comes toddling out from this entrance. And the sense of scale is that this is an entrance that is normal sized for a 20-foot tall stone giant. And you got this little 2-foot high thing come waddling out, and it stops for a moment, and the head, without blinking, just kind of turns slowly and looks at all of you, and it starts waddling out, and then all of its kin start wandering out behind it, and there's more of them and more of them and more of them, and you quickly are able to surmise the only option is to move quickly. Because behind it, you hear other sounds, foreign sounds, sounds that you have not heard before, and it immediately gives you a sense of foreboding that it ain't good. So you've been on the run for the last 2 days, because every time you feel like you've finally gotten away and are able to move far enough away, within 30 minutes, you start hearing the laughter again, and you start seeing the swarms come near you again. So for 2 full days, there has been no time for anything other than the briefest of short rests, but even then, they have not been peaceful. And you've been on the run into the Chandlewood for 2 days and 2 nights, and you are on dawn of the third day
Dog.
of having been on the run with the entire Gentle Trunk clan moving as quickly as you can, trying to herd everyone as often as possible, but everyone, exhaustion is setting in its various ways. However, each of you would deal with being that level of exhausted. It could be that you have a Hugon who is, while there are limits to the human body, might be used to being up for longer periods of time during campaigns, and that's going to manifest in whatever way that maybe he gets more and more stoic as time goes on. It might be that Drenmai goes the way, and I'm just suggesting this does not have to be the way it goes, but sometimes when you're super tired, you also start acting, kind of super silly, because what they say, it's like if you go more than a certain number of days without sleeping, it's the equivalent of being intoxicated.
About 96 hours without sleeping.
Something like that, yeah. So, but everyone, you're feeling the weight of this exhaustion, because it's not just like, oh, I've been up and I'm doing whatever and I've been busy for the last 2 days. It's you've been on the move. It isn't a full-on sprint, but walking ain't a choice. So
It's like a New Yorker jog.
Move.
It's
Oh,
like
get the
it's
fuck
like
out
in
of my way.
Braveheart when you're seeing like the clans on the move and they're kind of running. They're like loping. It's
Yeah.
like that loping, and it's
So
there are quite a bit of now, mind you, the Gentle Trunk family is a fair amount of Fearbulg. So the loping is, so it's possible that Drenmai has been and other smaller creatures have been riding on the various Fearbulg. During the
Yeah, y'all are tired. I don't know why you. I'm fine.
well, you've been dealing with the psychological fallout of having remembered what was coming out of that pit.
Oh, that's right.
Drenmai did not do well on her intelligence or
Yeah.
wisdom save.
Oh, wow.
So you're not quite the gibbering mess that you were when you first left, but there's definitely some psychic aftershock of like, oh man, I didn't want to remember that and now I can't forget it. During the course, at some point, you don't quite remember because your memory is a bit muddled over time. As is what happens, time starts blurring together when you're starting to reach this level of exhaustion. At some point, you do know some members of the Emerald Enclave have joined your group and were helping defend you from some of these creatures, some of the whatever the waddling doll monsters are. Just because you do know the Emerald Enclave is active in the region, and let's face it, you kind of collapsed a mountain that's gonna, or at least part of a mountain that's gonna grab some attention.
Just, how,
yeah.
It's
how
like
you
a 4 on the Richter scale.
Yeah, it grabbed some attention there. So you do have a little bit. You've been having some help keeping some of these things at bay, because you've been having the reinforcements of the Emerald Enclave, elves and various other warrior druids who have been doing some help, but there's just so many of these little things running around that it's like next to impossible to just completely keep them at bay and not have and there's just a war of attrition would see you all killed in this case. There's just that many. Hugon, you've probably communicated as much to the people at some point that
Probably.
even though we're talking about, it's like, listen, what are those red fire ants that are in the Amazon? Though they be little, and though you might be able to step on them, and like, yeah, they've got a quarter hit point each, but there's just so many of them.
There's a
it's like-
billion of them.
yeah, it's like that, and this is where it is. And on top of that, it's the creatures, and and also what the bugs have a tendency to do.
Speaking of what these bugs have a tendency to do, and that awful shadow realm thing
Mm-hmm.
that we went to, has Hugon at all been able to determine who they are following, or if they're just following us in general?
Give me, this I think would fall under your obviator.
Okay.
It's a roll?
Insight?
Yeah, give me an insight roll.
Okay.
Give me some of that fresh
Oh.
insight. That fresh Sunday morning insight.
Sunday morning insights. Well, it's a 17 on the die.
It's part of this
and-
delicious breakfast.
Let's see here.
Part of this complete breakfast.
24.
A 24. And so you're trying to determine, is there a target to their...
Yeah. Who or what are they following?
Who or what are they following?
Because after like a couple of like
Mhm.
hours and like then eking into one day,
Mhm.
this becomes like way less normal. Like
Yeah.
I could understand being chased from a lair by something for a few hours, but like for 2 days, yeah, that's
Yeah.
someone's being hunted.
Um,
Are you okay there, Clues? Oh, okay.
doggies.
Dog.
Um, it's one of the benefits of watching Team X is that you get some doggo.
There is a dog.
There
He's
is.
big.
Yeah. See, toy.
He big and silly.
He big and fuzzy.
Big baby.
You're not sure if there is any specific person or object that they are focusing in on.
Mhm.
One, you know that you could determine it if you let them get closer. But you also know what the repercussions of that would be. It's like once they get that small foothold, it's like, listen, once
You're
you
never
have
gonna outrun him again.
once you have one mouse,
Yeah.
you have all of the mice. So you have to keep all of the mice out. So
Multiplicity of Mises.
so you are certain beyond beyond doubt that they are in fact following / chasing / hunting you. You as in the group, but you can't figure out exactly what it is that it would be. But yeah, there's no doubt in your mind that there's some other. I'll tell you this, that you're able to surmise through all of this that these, whatever they are, and I think we need to put it out there for maybe someone needs to help us name these things. We need an appropriately creepy name for these things. But whatever they are, you are able to determine that these are intelligent animals at best.
Okay.
Like almost like slightly above the intelligence of a reliable hunting dog. In that they're probably not making the decisions for themselves, just based on how they move. These are not things that are of independent, critical thinking intelligence. You're able to determine all of that, but outside of that, all you can figure out is it's a swarm tactic. There's lots of them, and every now and again, like it's as they've come in, as they've been coming in, it might be that you have a few people that are having to very quickly like hold them off while everyone, because it's probably like what's been happening is you've been getting to a point where you think you're finally far enough ahead, where you think you finally lost them. Everyone's like sitting down trying to take just a few minutes to rest their legs, to catch their breath, and then they'll start showing up again, and it's like, crap, we got to get everyone moving, but it's a large enough group where it takes a few minutes to get everyone up and moving again. So it might be that you have to quickly go out there and deal with whatever the initial vanguard is to keep a few of them down and cut them down. But then there's just more and more. So it's like, okay, good, everyone's moving, great, boom, and you start moving again.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds awful.
I would vote for Beebushkas. They're Beebushkas.
Beebushkas?
Yeah, because Matryoshka dolls are also known as babushka dolls,
Oh,
and they have bees have
Beebushka.
Beebushka.
Okay.
The Beebushkas.
I'm gonna write that down so we can workshop it. I like it. Beebushka.
So we have not had the opportunity at all for any short rests.
I will say that you've had, because a short rest is 10 minutes if I remember correctly. Is it?
Along those lines,
It's
something
about
like that.
it's like 30 minutes.
30 minutes. It is. I will say that over the course, you might have been able to get a short rest, because
Okay.
it's probably also one of those things where after a period of time, it's like, all right, you people on watch, this group, sleep if you can. The
Right.
elderly and the kids sleep. You're trying to give everyone a chance to get even if they can get a quick cat nap. This is becoming very much like Bud's class, like Hell Week and Bud's class for Navy SEALs, where it's like, you know,
Sleep? What's that?
well, they'll sleep, but it's like, all right,
Sleep standing up.
you're done your drill, and they sit down, and they are asleep in a second, and it's like the second their eyes close, they're asleep, and then it's like 3 minutes later you're awake, but you fall into like REM sleep like almost immediately. So you might have been able to get a short rest along the way, but definitely not a long rest.
Because Eno, every time we stop,
Mm-hmm.
Eno takes out his lute and starts playing like a restful song
Mm-hmm.
in the hopes that it'll take, so during that one short rest,
Mm-hmm.
you can add an extra hit die to your heal.
Oh.
If you roll hit die. So in other words, like I'm down 11, so I'm going to hit short rests,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to choose 2 of my hit die, but then I'm going to add an extra D8.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1d8 is what my Song of Rest does. So just to kind of do that, if you want to hit your short rest button on D&D Beyond,
It couldn't be easier.
and I get my hit points back.
With access to D&D Beyond's tools, it couldn't be easier.
It could be easier to kill off an entire party.
So you give that to everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it do anything if we didn't take damage?
Yeah, you restore. So hitting short rest restores any kind of things that you would get back from doing a short
right,
rest.
okay.
There's some powers that you would get.
Right.
Some of your abilities
Gotcha.
and whatnot might recharge.
Right.
Yeah, you have had the ability to, and that honestly, might be the only thing that's been keeping people going, because we're not talking like epic level adventurers such as yourselves who are able to push their bodies and minds beyond the normal limits of normal tolerances, normal operating tolerances, right?
Mm-hmm.
The average person, and this is really important, like a level 1 person in the D&D world is intensely more powerful than the average person. This is like a level 1 person is like a earthly professional athlete. Or scholar. They're not. There's people that are way better. Not everyone can be LeBron, but there's a lot of people out there that are way better at basketball than everyone else out there. Your songs of rest might be the only thing that has been keeping everyone going and even holding on to what little thread of sanity they have right now from not being able to sleep for more than whatever few minutes they're able to catch. And that's like, even if you're able to sleep, because if it's not even like, oh, I'm tired, I'm going to go to sleep because I've been working out for the last 3 days. This is, I'm running, I'm in fear of my life. I've been through whatever traumatic experience. Sleep might not be coming right away because the adrenaline is going, it's been a wrought couple of days, but you might have been keeping people together. Your art might be keeping everyone together. But yes, everyone can have popped a few short rests along the way.
Nice.
So back to what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
Walks up to Hugon and says, do we want to try and get away from these things, right? Or do we want to confront them, because these aren't going away?
I don't remember. Were you with us the first time we did this?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I came in.
Right. This is
Not a really
I've
good
helped-
experience, was it? For a first outing.
I've had
Sorry.
better experiences.
Yes. Sorry about that. You can blame Drim for that one.
I have been saving some energy, and I could help us pass without trace,
Oh.
which would prevent them from tracking us with magical means and give us some boon to our sneaky.
How many people will that work on?
Everybody within 30 feet of me.
There's 30 feet radius or diameter. This is important.
Out of character, it's it just says within 30 feet of me, including me.
So I'm going to
Sounds
take that
like
as a
radius.
radius. Yeah. So 60-foot radius,
60-foot diameter
60
across.
foot, 60-foot diameter.
So it's like a slightly larger fireball.
You would be able to get a fair amount of people in there, but there's enough of the family that are there that it would be very difficult to, because it's not even like, listen, if you had a whole family of halflings and gnomes, yeah, you could just stack them. You know, you could do.
Eno starts walking.
You could do Gravity Falls. You know, just stack the gnomes.
Eno starts counting his paces. Like he's like, everybody huddle up, and he tries to get everybody into as tight a group as possible. And he starts like walking across, and then he's like shaking his head no, and then he walks across the other way, and he's like, it might not work for everybody though.
At this point, and like Hugon like particularly like looks around to make sure none of them are standing near him. He's like, this is kind of one of those situations where you sacrifice the old and young.
Jesus Christ.
Either some of us die or all of us die.
Oh my
Is it within your earshot for this?
That's exactly why I said he looks around to make sure no one else is around.
So it's just me and Hugon, and
It's
he's
just
like,
you and having a little war council.
yeah, and Eno's mouth like kind of opens, kind of drops, and says,
And Hugon doesn't look like he enjoys that prospect, but he also doesn't look like that he's like particularly bothered by it. Like it's sort of a fact.
Could this be like a case of Hugon's dealing with the exhaustion, where it's like the pragmatism, like normal full rested Hugon would probably be in the mode of, no, we're gonna fucking
we're still gonna run. We're gonna run real good.
Yeah, but as it's more tired. It's like, no, his defense mechanism is more and more pragmatic. Like you just start shaving away the layers of until we're like at the absolute survival of the fittest. Old, young, you can old. They're on their way out. Young, we're gonna make more.
Young are supposed to like probably easier to carry, but like it's been 2 days.
It's time we sacrifice the young, the old, and the drens. I mean, listen.
Pitcher out there. Go, Dren.
Fireball.
I don't love you. Good riddance.
and Eno turns to Hugon and says, "But if somebody's gonna die, we might as well fight them then."
No, listen. This is what we would call a. I don't remember the word. Bait. And we would send them one way because we know that they're slower, and then we would go a different way. And we would hope that in them being overtaken, we get an extra amount of time.
If they're tracking us for a specific reason, that is not going to work.
That's my fear, and that's why I haven't done it yet.
Well, then...
Because I would have done that yesterday. If I knew that it would work.
Is there a way to figure out what they're tracking?
What would be funny is if like Dren just sort of popped up, like she was there the whole time,
like out of the earth, like
was she there the
like
whole
that
time?
fucking mole from Animal Crossing, like you didn't turn off the game. Shut the fuck up, mole. I don't have time for you. I gotta sometimes turn off the game. All right, so fuck off.
Hey, listen.
Yeah, Navi. God damn.
So Dren all of a sudden pops up.
Fly now, so I suppose I could do that. Hey,
Dren flies up. Like, when did you get here?
I'm always here.
Listen, Hugon suggested that.
Hey.
There was a suggestion.
There was a suggestion, and I already said it wouldn't work.
That happened to be made by Hugon.
And it's not going to work, so we're not going to do it.
And we're not going to do it because it's not going to work.
Okay.
What do you have in mind?
What's your suggestion, Dren?
Split the party.
That was going to be my next suggestion. We let them leave and we stick around.
Uh-huh. And then also split our party to see what they're tracking.
In general, but I was hoping to get closer to a portal before we do that.
Well, we can send the family ahead of us.
How close are we?
How many? Yeah, how many do I see?
How many what?
What are we calling them? Babushkas?
Bibushkas right now. At the moment, we'll say that this probably was right when you thought at whatever point that it's like, all right, we not only need to have a rest. You know, you're sort of gauging by the group, but also you thought you had moved. Every time it's kind of like there's that hope that you haven't seen them in however many, however long, as long as you've been moving. It's like you haven't seen them. There's been no trace of them. You've been trying to do whatever you can to cover up. I mean, the Fearbolg are pretty good at covering their tracks. It's not like you have hill giants traipsing through the forest,
Stomp,
where there's
stomp.
just like a swath of destruction and crushed animal and plant life as they've been moving through. The Fearbolg are very good at moving through the forest relatively like you would pretty much the only ones that are leaving any kind of trace, if you are not like attempting to, would be probably like the 4 of you. I'd say the 3 of you, because again, Thunuk, this being his, natural environment. And if Dren's riding on him, then it would really, and I'm not trying to like say, oh, it's you two. And, but Hugo and I will say, you're not thinking that they are tracking you by, the footprints, because that would have been like probably one of the first things you did. You would have been like, oh,
Right.
well, I'm going to walk off this way, but no. So it's not like, it's not like, oh, we moved this far and of course they're going to find us because,
Mhm.
So right now it's probably right when you've chosen the rest. This is probably when you've chosen the time to have your most potent conversations, because you'll figure, listen, it's been about 30 minutes every time. We've got 30 minutes from right now to start planning whatever we want to plan if we need to make any major differences to what we're doing. So, Dren, right now you see none. In the past, when they've started showing up, you have seen they are legion.
I imagine
Where
we
they are many.
heard them before we saw them.
Yeah, that's usually like
Buzzing.
the buzzing and the laughter.
Can I like scurry up to, like, since we're in a wooded area, can I scurry up to like a treetop, and if I can just get like a gauge of where I
Athletics check.
see movement?
Sure, athletics check.
My athletics.
But I will give you advantage because I'm assuming that you're just using a Fearbolg as your starting point.
Oh, of course. There's always a launch.
1d4 fear balls within arm's reach.
There are-
Excuse
Hang
me, up please.
Up now.
Uppies.
Uppies now.
There are 2 Fearbolg near you that are helping you up. So just,
Uppies.
Perfect.
and it's not even like they're in pay attention. Like they could be talking with themselves, and it's just sort of they just like mindlessly like reach up.
Like Dren's some sort of like annoying badger.
No, they're just used to it at this point. They're just completely used to it at this point.
I got a 15.
Okay, 15. So you were able to scurry up into one of the trees, and now so you're trying to look out as best you can through the Chandawood to see if you can. Well, give me a perception roll to begin with.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Goggles on.
Does goggles give me advantage?
Probably not.
They're welding goggles. They give you disadvantage.
That would be a 7.
For wherever your group is stopped at the moment, the Chandawood is not. It's not good for line of sight. There are a lot of very large. This is an old growth forest, so a lot of very large trees. We're at dawn, so you probably have that. So it's dawn and it's springtime, so there's definitely going to be a lot of mist and like that early morning fog from all the moisture on the ground, warm air, cool ground. So right now it is very difficult. You're not able to get a good line of sight to determine like how far out they might be at this point.
Okay. I'll scuttle back down. And then well, we know that it's about 30 minutes that we have, so at least the first thing we can do is send off the family ahead of us while we plan. So I think, Thunuk, go ship off your known ones, and then we can figure out what to do.
Thunuk appears to be.
It's not there. Remember, you guys are trying to have this.
No.
conversation
We said he
without
came
him.
out. No. We said he came out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
she went and found you. I
No.
apologize.
We had the hero thing where he comes
No,
out.
no, not that bit. I mean, you guys are having this conversation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant no. They didn't leave him back.
No, he's
He's
they're
dead.
constantly having this conversation away from the.
Fuck you. You stay in the hole. We hate you.
Then I would tell them, and I'll go find Thunuk and let him know.
Fair enough.
Which Fearbulk is it?
Yeah. Well, but you're like, no, that's not his knees. Those aren't his knees.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
no,
'cause
no,
mind
he
you,
doesn't. It's missing a
I'm like-
scar.
Oh God, this sounds like a nightmare scenario with a child at a grocery store.
Yes.
Mommy, no, mommy, no. Where?
Ah! There's more
I'm
than
3
one
feet
adult.
tall. I'm 3 feet tall. All of you are what, 8 foot and above? So it's
yeah.
very much,
He a big boy.
Mhm.
yeah. So trying to find you, I bet is fun.
You should just be like, I found a potato scout, and see if Thunuk just like freaks out and comes running.
Good work.
They're like, oh fuck, what are you doing out here? You guys gonna kill me?
Yeah, you guys need like a potato scout like calling. Like a potato scout whistle or something. So I can just be like caw.
Spud.
Spud.
Just say the word spud.
Actually, I don't think Joan would have that much tact. She
No,
would probably
certainly
just
not.
crawl up on the closest Fearbulk and then use it as like
a vantage
scouting
point to find.
Yes.
So it's basically the same tactic as before, but this time within your group. And then I
Yes.
would imagine it would be like a Crocodile Dundee situation where it's just like head to head to head to head as you're bound,
Quite possibly.
like parkour your way over to Thunuk once you find him. And to be honest, the
Probably.
Fearbulk are probably used to this because they've got squirrels that do this to them.
I'm small.
Little sugar gliders. There might be some that listen. There's probably some that have a sugar glider living like in the bearded region
Ugh.
here. Like there's a friend,
Right on.
Huh?
I don't like that.
It's like the birds that help the gators. keep
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
guns
they get all the
No, I
they get all
that.
the bits of
I
food
still
out
don't
of
like
there.
it.
They're able to get rid of like all the dead skin underneath. So it's
I
always
get like the rhinoceros thing where it's like they just like hang out like on like the shoulders and like pest
no, but this
control.
is the part that gets neglected here. So they're able to
Right,
get
but
under
they
there
don't-
and
This is the
skin's
part where
freshest
like,
layer.
Nope, we're moving on. We're moving on. We're
I
moving
still
on.
don't like
I find
it, and
Thunuk.
so you should stop.
Nope, I find Thunuk. And I'll kind of like hunker down on the shoulder, be like, so looks like we're gonna fight, but we can't save your family, so they need to go ahead of us,
My God.
or they die.
Amazing.
My God.
She doesn't have that.
No,
Well,
she
she's
doesn't.
tired. Everyone's
Bedside
tired at
manner.
this point. Everyone's super, super tired at this point.
Even
so.
Hugon would have managed to live better than that.
As you're saying that, the thing's actually telling you. I was told by the elders that we should probably split up. So because we can turn invisible, and as we've been running every so often, like a few Furbolgs in the family are basically going whoomp, disappearing here and there because of the fight or flight situation is just kicking in. They're like boom,
Mm-hmm.
and then they reappear like 15 minutes later. They've been there the entire time.
Mhm.
It's some of them look like they're having conversations with people who aren't there, but it's just someone's gone boom. And he's like, so most of my family can turn invisible, so we're gonna split up. The entire time you're saying that to him, he's like, we're gonna split up. I think that we're being hunted. My family thinks that we're the ones being hunted, not them, because they've never seen these pigs before. And
Mhm.
I'm tired.
We're all tired, but we only have about 30 minutes before they get here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an idea, since we're going to be splitting up anyway. But we'll wait until they get back.
Okay.
Just wanted to tell you.
But I'll wait until this conversation that I don't know is happening is done. So
Didn't
that way.
want you to leave until they. I didn't think that you were going
I'm
to
right.
leave, but I didn't.
I'm right
Don't
here.
go wandering off.
I'm right here.
Oh,
It's
no,
okay.
handsome.
As long as you're.
He puts an arm on Hugon. I'm right here,
Don't,
buddy.
no.
Oh.
No, no
Swat.
contact.
The most energy he's shown like in a day and a half. Swat.
No touchy.
It's the arm comes in. No.
No. It's like Mr.
Right
Bean,
here,
where
buddy.
where
Yep.
that woman goes, like that woman on the game show goes to like give him like the congratulatory like hug and stuff, and he's just like hand on face, like nope,
No.
nope, handshake, yes.
But yeah, he picks up Dren because this is just his everything how it works now. It's like small people go on big people, and then we continue on over to the next place. And he goes over to find wow, we haven't played in such a long time. I can't remember the characters' names all of a sudden.
Hugon?
Thank you. Hugon and Eno.
I'll start like leaning they're this way.
But actually,
Those
no,
guys.
that's in character though, because you know you've had that where you've been so tired, where it's like this person you know, and you're just like, and you
The person with the mask.
You with the face and the
You with
face
the
Yeah.
face.
and the weirdness in the face.
Then that person.
Face.
And as he sees, as they're approaching, as he sees him, he's like, so we've been told to split up because the elders think that we're being hunted, not them.
That seems reasonable.
Also, most of my family can turn invisible.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think it's time for a nap.
Nope, no napping. Nope.
Yeah, nap.
Nap
Don't
is
have
later.
time for nap.
Later nap.
but now naps are better.
Brian, does Hugon think that there would be a ley line convergence anywhere near us? I mean, 2 days through a forest is pretty. It's some distance.
It
From where we
is.
were.
So you're trying to Let us have that be a survival check,
Okay.
because you'd be trying to remember a map. The map that you guys had made.
Right. Mm.
Because you guys had made a map.
Would that be? Would that be? If I'm recalling knowledge, would that be survival or history?
I'm going to say survival, though, because you had rolled, if you remember, you had rolled a natural 20. when memorizing
yeah.
the
So
map.
now it's an instinct kind of.
So
Okay.
now it's more of a, because even if you had remembered the map, it's also figuring out where you are on that map. It's doing the topography. It's looking at one of those topological maps, trying to figure out where you are on the map in relation to where you remember those ley lines being. So there's a lot of orienteering happening right now. So I'm going to say a survival check.
Okay. So that is a dirty 20. An unnatural
An
20.
unnatural, filthy 20.
A 20 that knows not the light.
He's not even heard the name of Lathander.
It heard the name of Lathander and turned away.
and it turned and spit. The thunder. Okay, so you have a pretty good idea of where you are on the map in your brain, in your mind space, and you think that there is a ley line convergence probably within 2 hours of where you are. Now, the challenge always is also, once you're there, is finding it, because some of these gates are so old,
hidden
buried. Yeah, exactly. It's not
in a tree.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it's one of those things. If you've ever done geocaching, they give you like the coordinates, but they tell you where you are on the 2D plane, but not the 3D plane. And there's been times
Or the
where
4D plane. Sometimes you got to go back in time.
sometimes, well, that could be with these gates. I mean, we are talking about Dungeons and Dragons here. You know, we could be whatever we want it to be. But you think
Does that mean we have to leave a present?
it never hurts?
Fine, I'll shit when we get there. Okay.
Depends. Okay, I would imagine that maybe the Fearbog invented geocaching because that
Say
seems like
Rudy,
exactly something that the Fearbog would do for fun. Oh, we found the rock. Oh, and here's the little pebble he left. Oh, I'm gonna take.
Hey,
I'm gonna
look,
do
the
that
bug
too.
from the bug report.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm
Exactly.
gonna take this rock and I'll leave
It's
this.
Clarence, the beetle. That's a rock. No, that's Clarence. He doesn't move much.
No, he's lazy.
He's kind of tired all the time.
So yeah, you think you'd be able to, if you wanted to, you could probably direct people there or go there yourselves, or you've got a pretty good idea in this moment of where you are in the map. You think that there might be like, generally there might be like, so you can think of two different ley line convergences, both within kind of like in opposite directions, or I'll say converging directions, that would be a couple hours travel each way from each other.
What I would like to do is send the family like perpendicular away from us.
Mhm.
Like we're going, say, like, north by northwest. They go not that way. They go not the
South
opposite
by
direction.
southeast.
No, not the opposite direction.
That's perpendicular, south by southwest.
Slightly parallel, so that as we go apart from each other.
Oh, I was just gonna say clean break right here and just go different directions.
Well, I was thinking more along the lines like if we go like so.
Yeah, maybe.
If it looks like the Bibushkas are following us, no big deal. But
That's fair.
they break off.
Yeah.
They go right back.
That's a better idea.
Eno will call Alexi over.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen these things before?
Oh dear God, no. Have you seen these things before?
Yes.
Oh God, why?
I'd like to know that myself.
Bad place.
Ugh.
I just thought since you seem to have some kind of tie to the Shadowfell with your new configuration, that maybe you would remember something about them. But
I would think I would try to forget these kinds of things.
it's probably a good idea. It's probably best.
Ugh.
Advisable. Even.
Yeah. Well,
Even if we had time, I don't know that I could sleep.
I don't want you to be alarmed, but we're going to split off, and those people are going to go their way, and we're going to go a different way. So if you want to come with us, it might be a good idea, or it might be a bad idea, but it's going to be your idea as to which idea you decide.
But if the
to
good idea
go
is
with.
also the bad idea, how are we to know which one is the correct idea?
I think all ideas are good and bad until the end of the idea, and then it's determined at that point whether it was actually a good or
So we need to
bad.
have a retroactively good idea.
Right, which is impossible unless you
Not
can...
necessarily.
Hmm.
But are we to leave the Fearbog and their kin undefended?
I mean, they can turn invisible apparently, so that's like a defense
Oh, that's a fancy trick.
mechanism. You just boop, boop. You might have noticed that they just sort of go boop, boop.
Or for the children, it's zoop.
Zoop. I thought I was just sobering up. That was actually happening.
It's been happening for a while.
Oh dear Lord, I need a drink.
Me too, but we'll have to wait. When we get out of this, think positively.
Right.
We will both have a very large drink.
Well, then I shall stay with you, so that way, when we retroactively do
Yeah.
this, when we retroactively are successful, then we may proactively have drinks.
We'll each have our own large drink. We won't share a large drink.
Oh dear God, no! I
Just
don't know where. Oh, actually, I do know where you've been, and I'm definitely not
Just
sharing
clear.
a drink with you.
Just to clarify.
But you've also known where I've been, and you shouldn't share a drink with me. It isn't safe or sanitary.
Alexi, enough, please, for the love of God. That's enough.
So Hugon, you said.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. I did not mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
That would be what we call a retroactively bad idea.
Shut the fuck
But
up.
we only know because we can look back in time.
Lexi, please.
Very well. I shall travel with you.
Okay. That sounds good. Now, Hugon, do you want me to do the magic thing, or do you want them to catch up to us?
We need to see if they are in fact following us. So it'd be important for them to catch up to us.
Okay.
If they aren't, we can trigger that, and then if we find that they're also following the family, we trigger that and sprint back to the family.
Okay, because I can only do it once.
I know. Let's just keep it in our back pocket for now. We'll
So we want to try and lure them to us.
That's a dubious. I don't like how that sentence started
Or ended.
or ended. I didn't like any part of that. But I'm sorry, Dungeon Master, real quick. Is that one super annoying woman with us still? Is she still alive?
Yes, she is, isn't she?
Oh,
Sister who doesn't speak common?
his sister? Which one?
No,
are you talking?
not your sister,
Oh,
who's
our,
also
like,
annoying.
intern,
Oh no,
basically.
you're
Oh,
no.
the
She
fangirl.
stayed.
from home office.
She stayed.
okay.
She stayed back in Oldboulder because she's not. She's really not.
That's good for her. I don't know if she would have survived.
Oh no. This would have been. And I kind of regret not bringing her along now because I think it would have been truly fun to have her like in Meltdown mode.
Alright.
But
Savat.
yeah,
Savat
Savat
Loren.
Loren. Thank you.
I wanted full-on panic mode.
I didn't. I'm glad that this didn't happen.
But she was really in no state to travel because of the stew.
Oh right.
And in all honesty, she was not there. For this. This was supposed to be a milk run. And it's although nothing with Team X ever is a milk run. Get in, get out. Yeah, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not how it's gonna work.
You know. You've met us.
Can I possibly do
The world's least subtle covert force ever.
Can I do like a history check on these babushkas for any possible knowledge that I have on them?
You can listen. It's Dungeons and Dragons. You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
It's just a matter of whether or not you will be successful.
That would be a 26.
26. So let's drill into that. What exactly, aside from just the nebulous concept of anything you might know, let us drill into that. What specific?
I want to know what
piece?
would attract them.
What thread?
I want to know what would attract them, or what lures them, or if they are close to the Shadowfell where they'll feel comfortable. If a piece of Shadowfell might just happen to appear, and they would be attracted to it.
Oh god.
The song attract them, like Right Said Fred's "I'm Too Sexy for My Shirt."
Are they fans of disco? Are they?
I could make a disco ball happen.
Are they well read? How do they feel about cardboard adhesive? Cockroaches are attracted to adhesive in paper.
Huh. Okay. Knowledge.
Yeah.
Do they hate mothballs? I don't know.
Do they hate mothballs, or Nickelback, or do they?
There are things I'm trying, but I wanted to know things they like.
Things they like. So, from what you remember, you have not had, previous to your most recent excursion to the Shadowfell, you had not had any previous contact with these creatures before, so you really don't have anything to draw on. And you're certain of that. And you kind of like tentatively pulled at that thread because you remember what happened game time just mere days ago, real time several weeks ago, when you pulled at one of those memory threads and it unlocked a door that you wish you had not unlocked. And in King Killer parlance, you moved on to the third door and it didn't work out well for you. At any rate, we'll talk about that later. So you pulled at that thread tentatively, and you're like, okay, no, it doesn't hurt. No craziness, no madness abounds. The only things that you could remember were that the wasp-like creatures appear to behave like mosquitoes. So
But they like blood.
Mm-hmm. I need chanting right now. Blood. And they do. So they did behave. Now, outside of that, you didn't take the time to dissect or take any of them apart or know anything about that. But you could just say, like, oh yeah, this reminded me of mosquitoes in the summer or gnats, where it's like, oh, this is annoying. They're less annoying for you because it's like they always go after the taller people first before they get to you. They're staying up high. And that their mode of conveyance, you're not sure you can remember any kind of motivation there other than if Dren had ever seen a zombie movie, that's kind of like where it's just like,
Okay, but they have that like attraction to blood.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what you can surmise. You're not sure if that's, again, you haven't done a deep anatomical or biological study of these things.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It gives me at least a start of something, and then because my ultimate
so
goal
I
is
cut Hugon open and we.
No. I don't have to do that. I mean, not yet, but
I don't have to. I want to, but I'm gonna.
See how that works out for you. Probably poorly.
So, I'm gonna take my time. I don't really do the strategic thing that's Hugon's thing. I'm just gonna start digging a trench in front of us. I only want to dig maybe like 8 to 10 inches deep, but I want it to be more so wide.
Okay.
So maybe like 2 to 3 feet wide, and then that's what I'm gonna start doing. And then they can strategize. I kind of veer off and do my own thing.
Okay, so you're doing that. Rozzy's probably doing the same thing.
What are you doing?
Digging.
And why?
I want family to be safe. So
okay, that's not an answer. What are you doing and why?
I'm digging.
Why?
I need a hole.
For what?
You gotta dig a hole.
I want them to come this way, so I need a space to put blood.
Okay.
Dig.
Well, whose?
Actually, a really good question. I don't know.
Dig blood.
Dig.
Well, do you think blood attracts them? Ina would come over and ask.
You remember, like, when we were there last time, and the waspy guys, they seem to like it. So I
could
figured
try
to
to
have enough of an area here, they might come this way and leave Thanuk's family alone.
I could try to make it smell like blood.
Oh no, don't worry, I got that part covered.
Oh.
But if
Okay.
you want them to
Why?
waft-
And Eno just kind of starts walking away with his head down. What?
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
I wanted to make the blood smell.
I mean, we might need that for, like, wafting tendrils to go towards them, but I'm going to try this one first.
God,
Okay.
getting creepy as hell.
Well, just wait. It'll
Your
get more
fault.
gross. I'm just, if they want to strategize, because I'm sure this hole will take me a little bit.
And I cast Mage Hand, and the Mage Hand starts trying to, like, dig a little bit,
Sweet.
too.
Extra
Like-
hands.
Yeah. So I stay within 30 feet of her digging that
Okay.
hole. So my Mage Hand is scooping dirt out, too.
Yay.
Thanuk, why don't you help them out just so that it goes faster and we can figure out if it's going to
And we
work.
can move on. We can multitask.
Okay.
We can talk and
And
dig.
I will watch for the fucking horrors.
Okay. So at this point, you've already decided and communicated with
Mhm.
with the family that there's going to be this convergence. Have they already started to move? Have you sent them ahead already, or are you allowing them to gather their strength and waiting for these things to show up so that way you can split? Or what's the timing that you're aiming for here?
I don't plan those things. That sounds like a Hugon thing.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Dig.
Yeah.
They leave immediately.
Okay, so you've sent them on
Yeah,
their.
it's like, hey, no rest this time. Go.
Yeah.
We're staying here for a little bit.
Okay, so that the family has gathered itself up and started moving. And what's remarkable is how silently, as they move away, and you may not have been as aware of it as you're in the middle of them, as you've been like around them and moving with them. But as you're standing there and you set watch as your rest of your team is digging this trench, it amazes you how quickly and how quietly they do disappear into the woods. Especially for creatures as large as they are. You just logic would tell you that, you know, beings that are ranging from 8 to 10 feet tall, as large as they are, and they don't look, it's not like they're built like 8-foot tall elves. You know, they're giantkin. They're bulky. But how quietly, and even the ones that aren't Firbolg, while they're not able to turn invisible, they almost do. It's almost like they disappear into, like, they just disappear into the brush very, very quickly. And they go off in the direction that you've indicated that they should travel. So you guys are digging your trench, and that takes you probably about 10, 15 minutes to dig this trench as wide and as long as you've desired. And the entire time, Hugon, your inner clock is running.
Mm-hmm.
And you're expecting the next wave in probably about anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. It could range from either one. And you know, even at the far end, it's not like the entire horde will show up at once. And again, we need to have whatever this plural is, because horde, I always think orcs, so it's not that. But whatever the swarm. Whatever this swarm is, you'll start seeing you'll see the vanguard first. You'll see almost the outriders first, and then once you see them, within 2 to 3 minutes, the rest will very quickly start moving in.
How big are the bugs again?
I think we established that these things are pretty hefty. We found a picture of an enormous.
There's pictures. The pictures of the Japanese hornet, which are about this
size of your hand. Yeah,
this big.
Yeah, I've seen them,
and like
in person.
Yeah,
they're bad.
They're like small hot dogs.
Or if like you want to get like super fiendish, you could go to Borneo and encounter the Megalara Garuda, which is like a horror. It looks like literally a fiendish template wasp, and it has jaws that are so big that they curl around its head. And when they open,
I think it's more like that.
Predator.
Yeah, I think it's more like that, and also just because it says Garuda.
I also, in that case, I imagine like all the birds that would normally eat and critters that normally eat things like this are running in the opposite direction.
Yeah,
like, fuck that noise.
Actually, Thuna, give me a perception check, or give me a perception check.
Ooh. Hello, math. Let's do some math.
It's Sunday.
Perception. 23.
23. You have noticed that when these things first make their appearance every time, there is the briefest time where the forest goes silent. And that's from usually either there's two things. Either apex predator is near, and not like bear apex predator where it's like, oh, for the most part, bear don't care. Yeah. Like more like you've seen some like scary level natural things.
The fucking greater dragon in the area.
Yeah, like there's things that like I mean there's
there's a line graph for bears. It's give fuck, don't give fuck.
Angry.
The bear is like on this side of the line graph.
Yeah.
Sun bear versus grizzly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Even grizzly. There's happy grizzly. There's contented grizzly, and then there's mama grizzly, right? And then there's a
Grumpawumpus grizzly.
But you have noticed that, or when something, you've also seen it when something unnatural has entered the forest, and this is over the years, not just now. But you have noticed that in the case of when these things begin to near, that yes, the birds go silent. There is no sound of the various little creatures and critters around. It seems like even like the normal insects and arachnids and things scuttle away, and the forest goes silent. It's almost as if the wind itself stopped. Not that it actually does, but there's just an eerie silence and stillness that weighs heavily upon you. This is not the natural state of the forest when that happens. There's a certain background white noise of an environment that you're familiar with that disappears. And it's like you don't even notice the sounds when they're there. It's like if you live in the city, you don't even notice the sounds of the traffic and all the other stuff. If you live out in the woods, there's just sounds that you just don't ever notice. But yeah, you have noticed that in the past. So right now there are sounds of birds, but yes, these are not the kind of things that most, robins, no. Robins are not sticking around to try to eat these things, because more likely these things would eat the robin.
Right. Or is the silence upon us now?
Not yet.
Okay.
The silence falls upon you.
Okay. So did we get the hole dug?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Hole is dug.
So then I'm gonna kind of, since it's like pool wise, I'm gonna go to like the far end and dust off my thumb, and then I'll bite it and just I know this is Jen getting into her creepy shit, so I can get like a little bit of blood out of my finger, and then so this gives me my twofer. I'm gonna cast creation, and then it pulls shadow material from the Shadowfell.
Okay.
And then I use that with my blood to create a 5 foot by 5 foot cube of the blood. So it's almost like multiplying and multiplying into this giant cube. And then I funnel that into the trench that we just dug.
Do you have any idea how much like volume a 5 foot cube?
I know.
That's why she dug a
Why
hole.
do you think I said I wanted a really big trench?
Yeah, she didn't draw the 5 foot cube out of herself.
I know, but my problem is not that
Wow.
where it came from. It's that it exists.
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot of fucking blood.
That's like
Yeah.
that's like
125.
15 people of blood.
No, it's a lot
Exactly.
more than that. 125.
Oh wait, no. I'm thinking each person.
This is
This is like-
125 cubic feet of
Yes.
blood, which
This
makes
is like-
935 gallons.
Yeah, this is like 1,000 people.
For
8
people
pints.
with or 3,500 liters
Yeah,
of blood.
And the average person has what, 8 pints or something like that?
8 or 9.
Well, what we're gonna do is
This is a school bus worth of blood.
A greyhound of
a
blood.
pallet. Wait, it's a pallet
It's
of
a
blood.
pallet.
It's a literal pallet.
We
It's a
got
pallet
a
of-
we got a 900-pound block of blood here.
Yeah, it's a
I
listen.
beg your pardon?
But when you buy in bulk, it's cheaper.
It's at Costco.
So Dren does this.
Oh, I trust me. As I'm doing this, I'm probably seeing the horrified faces, because this is getting into some of her more gross kind of magic.
And I would imagine that in this case, it's kind of like there's probably a look on Dren's face that none of you have seen before. Like not necessarily like pleasure. You've seen her happy, and you've seen her like happy, like giggle happy, right? With like, oh, I'm making something, or oh, I tormented Hugon, or I pulled this prank, or I'm having a donut. There's all these.
Sparkle fart.
And you've seen her upset. You saw her upset when Razi got injured a couple of games ago. Sparkle fart. You've seen that. There's a darkness to this that you have not seen before. And
Yeah, this is a good one.
as she's doing this, as we know, the lantern is her focus. And it's almost as if the lantern dims. Not dimming it as if there was less light or as if the light had diminished, but more, to use another property as an example, more like it Darksaber dims. Where it's almost like instead of it emitting light, it goes in reverse. And it's almost like as this is happening, light is being drawn in. and it's like if you're in, all of you as this happens, it's almost like you're not sure if it actually happened or if it's just you imagine that it happened. But as she casts this spell, it's like someone went into the raw file of this picture of the scene you see in front of you, and they started playing with all the adjustment sliders, and like the blacks are getting blacker and the contrast is going up.
Must be darker.
Yeah, and it's like it's just and it just for a moment, and then the blood splashes down into
It's gross.
into this trench. Some of it's splashing out, and it's it's blood, and it doesn't smell good because blood doesn't smell good. And
and it's pulled from the Shadowfell.
Does
blood have a
to
smell?
Make it.
if you
Blood
leave it
has a
sitting
smell.
out,
It's copper.
yeah,
Huh.
coppery, and then
Interesting.
and there's almost there is a wave of warmth at approximately 98.6 degrees that
It's
comes off of
warm.
that. Just a waft of it. And she does that. And as she does that, the forest goes silent. And that is where we are going to take our break. So that is the first half of today's game. We will be right back, friends who are with us in chat and friends who are joining us on podcast and in YouTube. We will be back ever so momentarily. For those of you on the podcast, you're probably going to hear you might hear some messages from our sponsors, and we will be back momentarily with the second half of today's game. So please, but we will all have our vital fluids when we come back. So, but please stick around, and yeah. And we have sound, and we can play. Hello, friends.
Yeah.
And welcome to the second half of Team X. Season 3, Episode 4. Yes. Imagine a long break that is now over. We are here.
Consider the possibility of a long break.
But only consider it because we're not going to do it.
Because we're not going to do it.
We just got off a long break. That was like we got off like a 3-week break. It was the longest of breaks, without actually being canceled. But we are back to play some Dungeons and Dragons. So when we had last left our little group of intrepid explorers, they Drenmai had, as we just determined. Well, no, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save what we just determined. But Drenmai had created. Would it be propagated or promulgated her blood? There's a word here.
The interdimensional thievery?
No, we're not talking about that.
Oh.
Tamp that down.
So later.
We're going to get into that. That's a story thread that we're going to surprise people with later. But
I mean, technically, I just appropriated.
Well, you appropriated, but but created, we'll say, magically, a 5-foot cube of blood and deposited it into a trench,
filling up in this
as a means of baiting the, for lack of a better term right now, the bibushkas. In an attempt to, I guess, was it to slow them down or just to see what was going to happen, or did you just want to make a pit of blood?
I wanted to pull because it's created from the Shadowfell, and then I also go from the knowledge that they might like blood. So I have got these two, like, home component, tempting component, put it together. That way they're drawn this way and not going after Thinnook's family.
Okay.
Just in case if they were hunting them, now they'll be like, oh, this is much more tempting. Let's go over next to this pit of blood.
For free in this economy?
In this economy with the value of the yen? I mean, come on.
Nice.
And as this had happened, the forest had gone silent. When this dark magic
thank you for shutting up.
When this dark magic had been summoned forth, and Thunuk, that has been a sign that the bibushkas are in the vicinity, on their way. They are imminent. And there's this moment of silence, and then you hear in the slight distance, echoing, the slight sound of a child's laughter. And then another, and then another. And it's all different laughter. It's not like it's the same. No,
it is all the same.
It is not like, we sampled
Peter
this
Griffin's laughter. It's all it is.
It's all.
And that makes it
the entire forest.
It makes it so much worse. No, I'm done. Burn, all of you, burn.
The 4 will understand.
The 4 will forgive me for this.
Just scour. The Chunderwood is scoured.
Let it grow anew.
Eno uses minor illusion to make that sound back at them. And it's kind of loud. Like, it's not super loud. It's like, I can do it up to a scream. It's not a scream, but it's like kind of loud.
God.
But it's going back at them. Yeah.
And then you start hearing the slight shuffling that you've come to know, and the slight buzzing sound of the cloud of Garuda wasps. For lack, again, we're just trying to. We'll do all the naming later. I just if you want to Google it, what was it called?
Megalera
Garuda. So if you want to
yes.
Google that, you'll get an idea of what these things look like. Don't do that if you're squeamish.
If you are not into bugs, do not do that.
But if you really need to do it, make sure you have ample access to working facilities. Just putting it out there. and possibly a therapist. But you start hearing the buzz, which is lower. It's of a lower. The buzz is, you have like the sound of a mosquito, that that little high. This is more of a, because it's these are big, and the timbre is lower on the vibration, but you start hearing that as these swarms of, and you start to see just through the trees. You start to see the cloud. You start to see the cloud of the insects, and through the mist, through the early morning mist on this spring morning, you start to see the shadows of the babushkas as they're toddling along, moving towards you.
All right. Now we get to have some fun. Well, wait. Does this mean we're in initiative, or we're just...
We're not in initiative right now.
Okay.
It's just you see that they are out there, and it is up for you to decide. Okay.
I mean, do I have any indication that you'll just be like, oh, look, pool of blood, we'll just drink and go? Or do they
Guys,
seem a
free
little
blood.
bit more? Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
Where
like
are
here.
you? Where are you in relation to your blood moat?
I'm sitting right next to it. If I thought
Like
that
in
it'd
front
be
of
a
it,
good
on the
idea-
other. So is it between the two of you?
Oh,
Between
it'd
you?
be between.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be between.
So you're sitting
But
right
I'd be
there.
right in the middle of the long area, but I'd be
Mhm.
right in the middle.
Mm-hmm. What about
This
the rest
feels like
of
a
you?
bad idea.
Shouldn't we be hiding if this is a bait and we're setting a trap?
I wasn't doing it so much as bait, setting a trap, as keep your family safe. But
Okay.
I mean, now that we see they're here, we can either just let them have it and go about our way, or we could kill them all.
All?
Well,
I don't know if we're capable of that.
But if they're tracking
that-
us, they're gonna find us again anyway.
probably. Now that they're closer, can we get a better better guess of how many there are over there?
All of them.
Yes.
They're all there.
They're all there. From Dren, from your standpoint, it's kind of difficult because you're very low to the ground. With the early morning fog. Your best reckoning. Well, give me a perception check.
Perception.
Actually, why don't we all get perception checks on this? Because I'm
That'd
sure
be a
you're all
10.
watching. A 10. You're still
Well,
having.
I'm not wise,
perceptive.
so that just kills so many of my checks.
Well, so in your case, because you are so low to the ground, because of all the underbrush and the fog and the trees and how thick they are, it's really difficult, again, for you to get a really good line of sight on anything. So you're seeing what you're seeing through the woods.
I hear more than I see.
You hear more than you see, yeah. How about the rest of yous?
I got a 22.
22.
A 20.
20. Unnatural 20.
Cronenbergian, perhaps.
Cronenbergian. A non-Euclidean 20.
I got a 7.
A 7. Hugon, you're just too up, and you're exhausted at this point. So it's probably you're just focusing on whatever problem is immediately in front of you. And right now it's just like, right now it's not necessarily like fight or flight, like panic. It's more like strategic. Should we fight? Should we run? How are we going to take our next steps to really figure this out?
Mm-hmm.
Eno and Thunic. So, Thunic, you can see through the shadows based on what you're seeing. Every now and again, a little dull head might pop up as it, because the ground is not flat. It's there's topography happening here. And as you are able to see at your height and with your knowledge of the forest, you can see what you perceive to be hundreds of these moving through the fog and the mist. Eno, you two are able to see what you perceive to be hundreds, but you also have a very finely tuned ear, being the bard extraordinaire that you are. And in addition to the sounds of the babushkas shuffling and toddling through the undergrowth, and the sounds, the low thrum of all of these insects, you hear something else in the mix of all of this. And you're not exactly sure. It's a new sound. It is a new sound. And it sounds it's almost a chittering sound, along with, if you've ever heard the actual sound of an axe chopping into a tree. It's not a loud sound. It's actually a very dull, like, you know, there's not.
Thunk.
Yeah, it is a thunk, because there's no trees don't resonate.
No, not quite a thunk, but a dunk.
A dunk. Yeah, it's you know, there's because
Depending on the
trees
word,
trees don't like resonate. You know, they're not like a whole tree is not a vibratory surface. It's not. That doesn't make for a good instrument. And you're hearing like, you're hearing like these little thunks, and they're like a little bit further in the distance. Nothing that's in sight yet, but you are picking up on this slight sound that you have not heard before.
There's something else out there.
Should I set it on fire?
It sounds like it's beyond the creatures. It's going dudunk, 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 dudunk.
Does this sound familiar to anything that we heard while we were in the Shadowfell?
No.
Or
in
anywhere,
the-
period?
In the past thing that we did, that time travel, do it.
Yeah, has any of us heard this before? Or should I like self-insight myself, or
Self-insight. If you want to do it, if you
Unlock
want to do a
another
history
little
check,
door.
if you want,
A history?
you want to do a history check.
Selfie insight.
Selfie.
Math 23.
23. Does anyone else want to do a history
I have
check?
really good history.
Okay.
Well, since I'm the only one that heard it,
Yeah.
I can't because I didn't hear it.
20. What is it? Insight.
Yeah.
21.
No, history.
Oh, we have a
No,
we have
history. Wait, history.
history.
25.
Wait,
25.
is that a blomp?
Yeah. Blah 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 blah.
Womp, womp, womp.
And did anyone else roll for history? I'm just out of curiosity.
Nope, because I didn't know it happened.
Nope. Okay. So, in your case, Eno, you know you've never heard this before. There is nothing. Although you are having a memory of a story. When it come. Yeah, you've had a memory of a story, because that's, how, catalogs things, right? Is through song and through poem and through story, and
Yeah.
and you seem to remember a story that you thought was it was merely a myth, like a folklore. And that's saying something in Faerun, right? Because most of the things that we, as living on Earth, would establish as folklore are just, day to day, are just old hand in Faerun, like dragon. Yeah, some of my best
Yeah,
friends
that's
are dragons.
Steve.
Steve down the street. I had him over for beers yesterday. That's cool.
Was it a Yannick Vor story? Did I hear it from Yannick Vor?
You might have heard it from Yannick Vor.
Okay.
It's
something he would tell, though.
It is a story, and you remember hearing him tell a story of the meat snatcher. and you're not sure what it is.
He's gonna snatch your meat. Sorry,
And you're not sure exactly
I don't like it.
the exact details of the story do elude you at the moment, but you do remember there was something about villages, woodsmen going missing, woods people going missing, finding them like removed, like their skeletons removed. Like they'd find like the bones, but like the person would be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And no one was really sure, and it was always a portent of dark things coming. And it's an old story, been told for generations upon generations. So to the point where it had passed into folklore, because it's one of those things that when you started like actually like trying to do research into it, there were no modern stories. There were no like, oh yeah, someone ran into that a year ago. It was no, that was years and years and years ago that it happened. Drenmai, you too remember stories of the meat snatcher, but it fills you with dread because this was something that your grandmama Gemweaver had told you, and these were stories. These were the scary stories that she would tell because grandmama was a little bent.
She was eccentric, but
She
I
was
like
bent,
her.
and she would tell like the kids like these horrific stories, and of bad when little
Just
gnomes
bad.
when it was bad when little gnomes were misbehaving and being bad, the meat snatcher would come and steal your meat and wear it as a coat and leave nothing but your bones behind.
Man, this your grandmother was a bitch.
She was an interesting woman. I'll tell you what.
Telling you all these awful stories.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you do remember stories of the meat snatcher coming to snatch
set
your meat.
Everything on fire. No.
Nope. Burn.
Burn.
Eno is thinking, and he's like, he just kind of stops and he goes, "Oh shit, the meat snatcher, the fucking meat snatcher,
I beg your pardon.
the meat snatcher."
Yeah, they're bad.
What the
He
fuck
just
is?
leaves.
How do
just
you
leaves
know what it
bones.
is too?
You know about the meat snatcher.
You need to just be good. If you're good, you're fine.
I don't
She starts doing like a self inner check.
I would
Not
like
fine.
to
Not
insight.
fine.
I would like to self insight to see if Hugon is like tired enough to just roll with this.
I don't think the meat snatcher cares if you're good, Drenmai. I think it just snatches your meat and leaves your bones behind.
It's a good thing none of us have any meat right now.
But we're all
the
made of
that's
meat.
I rolled a 5, so I don't.
Your
I
meat.
don't. I don't know if I don't know what Hugon.
You
I
don't
think
have
at a
enough
5,
sense.
I think at a 5, Hugon's just like, I don't have the patience for this. Whatever. Sure, fine, fuck, whatever.
Fine, the meat snatcher.
You don't have it in you to argue at this point. There's a
Yeah.
lot happening. You're tired.
Yeah, no. You don't want it. You don't want it. They're bad.
I
If they're
assume
bad,
that they're bad.
they eat
yeah.
you.
Okay.
Maybe
We
we should.
What is making you suddenly say this name? Like
The noise that I heard, the dunk 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 dunk, the noise. That's the meat snatcher.
And the babushkas are growing closer.
Maybe we should all go different directions and see which one they follow.
but won't the meat snatcher pick us off one by one?
Yes, because we've all been bad.
So we shouldn't do that.
Shouldn't do that. Do not split the party. We'll all die.
We should do that,
Individually.
but we
Alone.
shouldn't do that.
Can I set it on fire?
Don't know if we have enough fire.
Well, I could start a good fire.
But then the trees will
To
get
the point where
mad.
Thanook would not like me.
Yeah, the trees will get mad.
I'm not. I don't think they really care about what's going to happen to us. So setting them on fire isn't really going to be a thing that. I mean, it's not like these bugs hurt the trees.
But if the
so
trees get set on fire, the trees won't like that.
that's what I mean. Like they don't care about the bugs. They don't they don't want to be. They don't. It's got nothing to do with them. They don't want anything to. Them being put on fire is not something they're on board for.
The trees don't want to be on fire, right?
No, not normally. No.
No, don't set the trees on fire.
I don't.
This will not be a controlled burn.
Maybe we need spiders. Not for eating. Maybe we need spiders.
And then we set the spiders on fire.
Oh no, to eat the bugs.
Oh.
How
Yeah.
big are these spiders?
Well, you remember
And
the
how
ones
many?
that? Well,
Oh God.
I could ask for
I
help,
know exactly what is gonna.
but they might not want to because I tend to like to eat spiders, and they're jerks.
Well, you could promise them that they won't be eaten because they have lots of food here.
Here's a thing, Thunuk.
Uh-huh.
Can you just like request them and bring them and then just leave and let the spiders do their own thing? We don't have to monitor the spiders, right?
No, not really. It really depends on how they feel about the whole situation.
If we don't deal with this situation now, we're gonna have to deal with it later, regardless of how many spiders you bring.
Okay.
Speaking of which, how far out of the forest? How far is it till we get out of the forest? Then
You've been heading in a basically generally southerly to southeasterly direction.
Okay.
So you're pretty deep into the forest at this point.
That's right. We're not in the Chanawood.
You are in the Chanawood.
We are in the Chanawood.
You are in the
We're in the
Chanawood.
Chanawood.
Yeah, the Marith Watch, where you guys were, where you all were at, with the Marith Watch border are the northern to northwestern border of the Chanawood, and that's where the Stone Giant compound was. Pinedale.
So we're
is
still
in
a ways from getting out of the forest.
Yeah,
the other
you would
direction?
you'd be a few days on foot. You'd be
okay.
a few days
Never mind.
travel.
Are they still making noises and shit?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They're moving closer.
I'm going to cast tongues on myself.
Okay.
Tongues grants me the ability to understand any spoken language I hear.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, when I speak, any creature that knows at least one language can hear me and understand what I say.
Okay. Well, you okay? So you cast this, but you're not hearing any language. You're just hearing the sounds of insects.
And that is not a.
It's more of a function of them moving than them actually communicating with each other.
Okay.
So, for example, like bees, you'll hear a bee buzzing, but that's not how a bee communicates. That's just the sound of their wings.
Right.
Right. So that's essentially what you're hearing right now. The chittering that you're hearing is not. It's more like the sound of mandibles, clicking together, as opposed to it being any kind of communication. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't understand any language.
Right.
It just means that you're not picking up on any intelligent language coming from them.
How far away are they from us right now?
At this point, the nearest of the babushkas are nearing 50 feet.
50 feet. All right,
That's
so
too
you should be able
close.
to hear me. All right, so I start yelling, "What do you want? Why are you chasing us?"
And they move closer.
Thunuk is going to just start praying to the four and asking for help.
Hugon
God,
grabs
help,
the
help,
back of-
help, help.
Hugon grabs the back of Eno's cloak and starts to like pull him gently backwards.
I'm trying to ask them. I can speak. I can speak to them. I'm
They-
trying to. What do you want me
Why-
to tell them?
We need to run. It's
Okay.
running time.
We're gonna run now.
God damn you! Smacks him in the back of the head. Just,
Hey!
I wanna test my theory, and is blood not mostly water? So I'm gonna cast shape water, and I want to just take.
not water.
no,
blood
it is not water.
Well, I mean, there's a significant water
It's
is a
mostly
significant
water.
with some
The
you
human
know,
body is
I
3/4.
hate.
I
with
want
some
to.
red stuff and coagulant in it. I mean, it's
Does Dren? Do you say that out loud? Do you say we need water?
No. I was
Okay,
just.
you're
I
gonna
was,
do it.
is
Alright.
blood not water, or at least mostly? I just wanted to cast shape water, and I just
They
want
s-
to take like a portion of the blood,
mm-hmm.
I mean, they
Get
say
into,
blood is
like-
thicker than water.
maybe like a half version of
Mhm.
myself, and it's just kind of formed out of blood. It's really gross, and I want to send it walking towards the babushkas, and I want to see what happens. I know this is horrifying, but this is totally Dren.
You fucking pulled
So-
a Diablo too, didn't you?
So
Yeah,
out of this blood moat,
it's like a 1.5 feet tall me
this
made of blood. It
blood
it does
dren,
that Terminator thing out
This-
of the blood.
Blood
the blood homunculus of Dren rises
blood munculus
from this thing.
live.
But like half-size version. So
Half
it's only
size
about-
version. So it's this little tiny little blood munculus.
I made it way too oddly, so it's all the same features. That it's kind of weird. but
it
it's all blood.
is Drenmai. It is Dren. But just looks like, but the way that the blood is moving, it looks like she's like weeping blood and kind of melting the entire time.
Oh yeah, it's shaped
And-
water, so things are moving.
and it steps out of the blood moat and it squishes over as it walks towards as you
Bloody
send it in,
footprints.
and as it nears the wasp things converge on it as the bibushka dolls move towards it and surround it, and it disappears into this living shell of wasp, and within 5 seconds it is decimated and it is non-existent. It was as if there was
Right.
not it was as if
No,
you
it
created
worked.
nothing.
I'll look at Hugon, and I'm expecting to see almost like look of horror on his face, but I don't recognize that.
He doesn't
Like-
look actually bothered by that at all.
Cool. And they're like, are we running?
Yeah, we're fucking running.
So this is what I love because it's a cantrip. I do that to all of it. There's a bunch of little half-sized drens that I send off and be like, run, and I'll send the army of mini blood drens towards
Wait a
them
minute. Whoa. Wait a fucking second here.
to distract
You
them.
can't command them, can you?
No, she's telling
it's-
you.
No, I'm
Oh,
telling
I
you
would-
to run.
Okay, I thought you were literally creating like homunculi, and I was like, hold on, this is
No,
this is
I
different
can
than
I can shape water as much as I want to.
Okay,
And
I was
then I can
very
send
confused.
I can send my little army of blood drens towards them to distract them for at least a small chunk of time, so we have a head start.
Yeah, we're running now.
And
Okay.
in that moment, you have that same dimming as the lantern sucks in the light around from the surrounding area,
And
and
goes dark.
all of the army of 1.5 foot tall blood dren homunculi.
And these one look slightly less like Dren because she's like,
She's
oh
not
God,
spending as
panic,
much time,
create.
and it's like yeah, they're like half formed, like they're only
Yeah.
like some of them are
It's
like
not pretty.
a little deformed. Yeah, it's not like they're even right. Like sometimes the heads are too big. Sometimes there's too many joints. There's too many elbows on in
Yeah.
an arm.
Ears are missing. It's
just-
not pretty.
It's like, and they go marching forth to their doom.
Yeah, I want to fan them out so that way it kind of
And
like
this
sparses.
Blood wall of homunculi go marching into the bibushkas as you
So
turn
gross.
and run off into the woods at the slightly different direction from Thunix.
Yes.
And
go
I have
first,
I
and
have a
because I don't
word
run
for
quick enough.
Thunix family. I think they would use a word, and if I'm mispronouncing this, Kiente, which when I looked up is I'm mispronouncing this. Would be known
How do you
as
spell it?
Kjente.
That's not Icelandic. I don't know what it is.
No, it is it was Norwegian.
It's probably Kent.
Kent, yeah,
Kent.
Kent, and it is the a rough translation of known ones. As in, yes, this one is known to me, and I thought that was kind of a nice. So
I
Kent.
like that.
Kent. At any rate,
That's so much more heartwarming than the scene that I just created.
Well, I had to listen. You gotta have the sweet and the spicy, right? You gotta have the balanced, salt, sugar. There's a reason why French fries and soda go together. Just
Sugar, spice, everything nice. Sorry.
except for the blood homunculus and the terrifying wasp creatures. So they're busy, and the wasps are just creating. It's almost like now there's a wall of wasp, this living wall of angry, blood-sucking wasp, and as more and more of these things, as hundreds and hundreds of these things come pouring into sight, and you go running off into the woods in the direction that you have previously prescribed.
Okay.
As we start running.
Toward the
So
ley
that-
line. Very
Towards
important.
towards
Toward
the
the ley line.
towards the gate that you think might be there.
As we start running, Thunuk uses cast Speak with Animals
Mm-hmm.
on himself, and uses thaumaturgy to yell in spider, "Buffet! All you can eat!"
Buffet
In spider.
yell in spider.
I yell in spider.
And casts Pass Without Trace, which so a veil of shadows and silence radiates from me, masking me and my companions from detection for the duration. Each creature you choose within 30 feet has +10 bonus to stealth checks. Can't be tracked except by magical means.
Except by magical means.
Except by magical
Okay.
means. A creature that receives this bonus leaves behind no tracks or other traces of its passage. So I just cast that just in case they're not tracking us with magical means. And then if we wanted to, but we're running, so running in stealth is not. But it's an hour. It lasts an hour.
Okay.
Sweet. And it still gives us a +10 to stealth.
So if we wanted to stealth, we get out of range and we want to try and stealth.
So if you wanted to run and be stealthy, you would have to do a stealth check at disadvantage.
Okay.
But you'd still have the +10 bonus either way.
Right.
Both of those were good. So
Oh god,
that'd be
damn,
a
the second
31.
A what?
A 31.
Jesus Christ!
I have a really good stealth stat too.
Me too. I got a 29.
Oh my God!
I rolled a 20 and a 9, and I got.
I rolled a 20
I have
and a
+10.
All of us need to roll this, right?
I have a
Yes.
29.
Yes.
And with
At
advantage?
disadvantage.
With disadvantage.
Disadvantage.
Well, I can't get much worse than that.
A 7 and a
Come
2. Both.
No,
So
that
what?
was
No,
a
no,
one
Oh
and a
wow! I rolled a 19 and a 7.
Okay, so a 7 plus
But
10
you
is
get
17.
+10.
And then plus whatever your stealth skill is.
He doesn't have any stealth. He's not built
not
for
stealthy.
stealth. He's
I'm
built
not a
for
stealth
destroy.
fighter.
He's built for destroy. So
I
a
tried.
2, Thunic, what does a 2 get
Oh,
you?
you said at disadvantage.
At disadvantage.
disadvantage,
Yeah, so
so it's a
you're-
Okay,
1.
the other one was a 1.
Oh,
He rolled a
So
Minus
one.
2. Minus 2.
Plus
So
So
a -2.
plus.
So you
Giant
got
creature.
9.
So you have a
With
9.
the +10, that's a 9.
Oh god. Wait, bardic inspiration.
Oh no.
You can add a D8 to that.
I don't think that'll help.
I don't
9
care.
plus
Bardic inspiration.
That undid my modifier. So,
So you
11.
got a 2.
11.
11.
Can I have bardic inspiration?
Well, no, you've got a 17
Okay, fair.
because it's plus 10. It's plus 10.
It's funny because I rolled them towards each other and went 1, 2.
Like, oh, great, they talk to each other. Fantastic. All right. So obviously, Dren and Eno are moving As silent as the wind.
Can I possibly do a little bit more bullshit and say that because I was with the Nook, he gets some of my stealth and can possibly have advantage? Because I rolled a 31 or whatever I said. So I will help his stealthiness.
You got to sell me on it. How would you be helping
I would
him?
be, since I'm riding on Thanook, I don't have to worry too much about my stealthiness. It's more that I'm trying to like clear the branches out of the way or tell him, hey, step over this way so that way you're not leaving a footprint here, or don't step in this area because it'll make a really loud sound. I'm like kind of guiding him.
So you're basically going to ratatouille him through the woods.
Yes.
Okay. I will allow it, not to the point where he got like a nat 20, but enough where he's not
my 31 counteracts.
He's not stomping through. I will say enough of you are, because 3 out of 4 of you are
punching trees as he's going.
Waking up the spiders. Now I think
Stop punching the trees.
I think because 3 out of 4 of you did well enough on your rolls that in addition to Dren doing the ratatouille thing, I think that we could allow Thunuk to be ensconced in the group stealthiness.
Hey, we're over here. No, bad.
So
he's still shouting about the buffet.
Stomping.
Wait, so did the spiders showed up, right?
Well, you took off and ran. You don't know if.
Well, no, but you succeeded, right? You succeeded in bringing forth spiders.
I don't know. I just yelled spider. You know what? I'm gonna spend 2 of my charges for an RP thing.
Okay. Oh.
And I'm going.
I gotta bring up your charges. Hang on. Let me find the charges.
I'm going to say, if you recall.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna bring to mind 2 scenes from 2 different movies.
Okay.
The first is waking up the trees from the 2 towers, where the tree ants' legs just start moving, and it's like that tree moved.
Tree ants start moving.
The ants, like a tree starts moving, and that was someone's leg. And a scene from the end of The Mist, where a large leg comes down, and hits the ground, and it's just a giant freaking spider leg. And as we're running, spiders the sounds of spiders the size of greyhounds and Saint Bernards, or like.
So remind me again what we decided on for
spending 2 of them basically does an RP thing. We can't use it in combat unless it's the flavor.
Right. Was it 2? Yeah, was it 2?
2. 4 was an in-game thing.
Okay.
During combat,
in-game.
the roll doesn't matter. I did a really cool thing, and this just happened.
Okay. So this is going to be you're going through those charges. You're using the charges to.
I'm guaranteeing that all the spiders in the forest heard me, and
that are within that shouting distance. We're within.
Yeah.
Here, and then they're probably telling their friends.
Yeah, it's like they heard a chitter. Which one had a chitter?
Okay.
A chitter.
So it's like it's the equivalent of walking into a trendy neighborhood and yelling "free iPhone."
Yeah.
And watching it spread from there as they all converge
with
on
a bonus Starbucks gift card.
Oh my god. And 150 free stars.
It's like being at a college campus saying, "Donuts free,
free beer,"
or like
kegger. Anything of the sort, Okay, I like it. So as you are moving through the forest now, not only do you hear now, spiders don't actually make the noise that you always hear in movies.
That creaking, awful.
That creaking kind of. It's more of a cicada noise, yeah. But you are hearing, and so I guess if we were doing the movie version of this, you would be hearing that noise. But I prefer more. It's almost silent as you start seeing these spiders of all sizes, from the very little ones to the enormous, like wolf spiders. Like the dire wolf spiders, the ones that you cleared out of that one cabin.
With the big fuzzy mandibles.
Yep. Are like leaping from tree to tree, or skittering along the ground, and they're just running past
not jumping
you.
Ones.
Huh?
Not jumping ones.
Oh, jumping ones. Oh, there are jumping ones. In fact, as you're running, you see some of the ground trap doors open as the trapdoor spider does it, and it is, but all silent.
I hate
Oh,
this so
too
much.
silent.
Brad probably loves this. I hate this.
They're all too silent. They're all too smooth in their movements.
Mm-hmm.
They are
One has
perfect.
like little frog pets.
They
That's
are
a real thing.
They are predators.
You remember
on
that
the
part
move.
in the last unicorn movie where the waves turn into the unicorns?
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen it.
I'm almost picturing that, but with spiders crashing through the forest, and I hate this so much.
I was envisioning a forest full of the arachnoids from Starship Troopers. Just like you hear this
We
herds.
bugs!
and
But no,
as you're running,
Fucking turned the channel into Clendathu.
it is Clendathu.
in behind you in the distance, if there was to be sounds of battle, you would be hearing them. You're hearing, like, if you've ever heard, imagine the sound of taking a very sharp knife through a plastic gallon jug of milk.
Mm-hmm.
And the sound that would make, not only of the knife piercing that, but also of it piercing whatever that outer layer is, but also the sound of the liquid pouring out. And you're hearing some odd roars, not like roars like T-Rex roars, but and you're not sure which side of the battle it's coming from. But as you move further and further into the forest, it's fading in the distance as the spider buffet party starts to pick up, because you invited a few friends, but then they invited a few friends, and then they invited a few friends, and
you're like, I don't even know this guy. What's he doing on my couch with his shoes on?
Yeah, I know, right? But then the guys that are just like, why are they here? Because they're just like like nobody knows who they are. They just sort of showed up, but they're the ones that they're wearing like the tap out T-shirts and are thinking, and they're like getting in everyone's faces. They brought their own beer, but no one's allowed to drink it. But they're drinking everyone else's beer too. It's kind of like one of those. You told them not to go into Dad's liquor cabinet, but they did anyway.
He's not my dad. I don't have to deal with the consequences.
Someone ordered porn on pay-per-view, and that's just playing on the TV. It's just
great move, kid.
Yeah,
just, God.
It's
never gonna be able to have another party again. Damn it. Chad, fuck.
But as you're so you're on the run now. So you're trying to get to the gate. How are you running? Just directly to the gate? Are you like, what is the plan here? Is it just like beeline?
Point A, point B. Bink.
Yeah.
Yeah. The shortest possible distance between 2 points.
Yeah.
And now that you are not, I'll say, for lack of a better term, encumbered by the gentle trunkyant, you're able to move faster. So crossing this ground that normally would have taken you with the group 2 hours, you're able to do in about hour 15, hour 30, because you're able to dig down into your reserves. Yeah. You're able to keep that 5K pace up a little longer. You're able to actually run. Whereas you did not want to do that. You guys would have easily been able to outpace the gentle trunks most of the gentle trunks if you were to do that. But in this case, you didn't have them with you, so so you were able to get to the gate. What is the plan?
This was all Hugon, so I'm probably like crawled off the nook, like pushing him, like fix it, get out, like being that really, really like past normal Drenanoid, but like
it's like as soon as we get to the spot, it's like, all right, everybody split up, find the gate.
Yeah.
Keep an eyesight with each other.
I would need everyone to do an investigation check.
Investigation.
Investigation.
I whomped.
Woo!
Womp.
Womp.
What the fuck?
It's a what?
They whomped.
Two womp.
Double bump.
I did not womp.
Aw.
Me neither.
Womp
Aw.
womp
That's a 24.
A 24. I'm just curious. What
23.
23 and a 24. Okay. So you're spreading out. You're trying to keep an eye on each other, making sure you're always staying within, trying to stay within eyesight of each other. And Eno and Dren, you're able to discover the gate. And
You take the high ground. I'll take the low ground.
and you almost like find almost from like opposite sides. It's like simultaneous. It's like at the same time, and
we
it's
both
like,
point at the same time.
Yeah.
There.
And what this gate appears to be, it was stone at one point, a stone archway that looked like it was just built between two trees, but over the course of however long it's been since anyone has activated this gate or used it, or however the whole mechanics work, because this is all still it's unexplored territory.
Mm-hmm.
The trees have grown up and around and into and wrapped around the gate, so it is embedded within these two trees. It looks like most of the runes are still available to you. Not all of them, though, because some of them are internal to these ancient trees on either side. But you have discovered it.
I imagine both like Eno and I go over. It's like it's there,
Right there.
and
It's
we
right there.
go as much as my little body can possibly muster. Moving people, yeah, that way.
So where does it? Where I mean, you have to activate this thing. So part of it is knowing
Yeah,
where you are and where you want to go.
that's a good point. Where do we want to go?
I know where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, what I'm worried about is if we go back to Pinedale, they have some means of tracking us there,
Mm-hmm.
and then suddenly we've got a horde of these freaking things.
No matter what, we're gonna have to take care of them at some point. We can't just leave them wandering the Channel Woods. So.
I mean, that would be pretty funny, but but you're right.
Well, I mean, we
at
wanted
least
to go.
if we can get to home base, then we can get supplies to be able to take care of the horde.
We were gonna go to that library, Candlekeep.
Oh, it's true. We
We
were. I
We
don't.
were gonna go to Waterdeep. We were gonna go to Candlekeep.
Well, wait, has Hugon ever been to Waterdeep?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, so you don't, because you're the one that knows where we are, so you're gonna have to be the one that knows where we're going to. So it has to be somewhere that you know.
Yeah, the plan was Candlekeep because there was info you wanted to get there, and there
Yes.
was, and I believe there was a submission with that. There's the point of getting to Waterdeep was also because that was going to be how to get to Sigil to visit Grandmama Gemweaver,
Right.
and there was also the side mission of the of somebody calling themselves Team X causing some issues in the Desserin Valley.
So it has to be somewhere that Hugon knows because he's the only one that knows currently where we are,
Right.
like exactly.
Okay.
Well, no, he doesn't necessarily. As long as you know, there was a code to be worked out for how to activate the gate. So it's not like if he's never. It's not like a situation where I've never been there, so I can't envision it, so it can't get us there. It's just like it's more like picking a solution and then having Thunuk taking the time to figure out how to activate the proper runes to.
So I could be the one thinking of where we're going, and Hugon knows where we are.
It has nothing to. Okay, so when I say knowing. It has nothing to do with like the mental aspect of I know and I'm going to focus.
Oh, you don't have to visualize it?
No. It's
Yeah,
this
it's
is
not
it's
teleportation.
a mechanical. It's
Okay.
basically like if you have if you remember old road atlases, so for those of you who are
Yeah.
under the age of 30, you've never seen one of these, but there used to be these books that had
Hey,
maps.
I know
in
what
them.
a road atlas.
Well, I know because you're from Indiana, and that's where people actually use maps. But
It's true.
But the idea is that, yeah, if I know I want to go to Boulder, Colorado, but I don't know where I am now, the map is useless, right? I need to figure that
Okay.
out so I can figure out the road. So the same thing is that the
Okay.
way that the coding works on the shadow gates is that you need to know where you are so you know how to activate this gate and where you're going to activate the gate on the other end, and then the two do the whole singularity Stargate thing and connect.
Then do we want to just take from here and go to Candlekeep? Or as close as we can get to it, I suppose. To get, I guess, the information that we need.
I mean, if we if we go to Candlekeep and they still manage to track us, they're going to eat a swath of like horror across Faerun until they get to Candlekeep, and then Candlekeep's going to be like, "What the fuck is this? What have you done? Get out!"
I have two questions. Is this Hugon thinking that, or does Hugon give a shit if that happens?
Hugon doesn't give a shit.
I was about to say, if you're asking me, Dren's not going to care. Be like, whatever. That's.
I mean,
But
Hugon could give two shits.
Well, I'm going to push back on that because Hugon has generally been really concerned about collateral damage.
Hugon's also been up for 48 hours
So
straight.
so right now he doesn't care. Like
Right.
baseline Hugon is like, no, we're not.
Baseline
Gonna...
Hugon might be like, that might look bad.
Yeah. We're not going to inflict this upon
Actually,
the council.
do we know how to get to Zedram Kai's place? We'll just fucking drop him off there.
Isn't that Elboulder?
No.
No, he has an estate outside of that. Let's do a history check to see if you remember if there is a gate nearby.
15?
15. Yeah, you think that there is a gate that would bring you probably within, depending on topography, because that's never included on these big maps, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you see, like, it's like when you see the map of like Middle Earth, right? Oh yeah, mountains, but it doesn't take into the fact that, but yeah, incline, right?
High.
Yeah, that there's an elevation gain here. we don't include that in this map. So
it just says mountain. Well, yeah.
Well, even if like it's like, you've got, Isengard and wherever, it's like, oh yeah, it's a straight shot. There's no mountains there. No. There's hills.
It's not a straight line.
There's some shit in the way.
This isn't Kansas anymore.
Yeah. This is not traveling across the Great Plains. So you don't know. It might be 2 to 3 hours from Zedram, where Zedram's Kai estate was established to be. You could potentially do that. That is.
I mean, I don't know if Hugon's in the right mental state to make that happen, but it's pretty funny. If it would work. If it wouldn't work, we'd just be 48 hours without sleep in front of Zedram Kai's place, and we know he doesn't like us. And
but he's not there.
He's
right, but his friends might be there.
Oh,
and his
that's
friends
true.
are hardcore.
That's true. Yeah.
Let's just go. Hugon is like, let's get away from this place. Candlekeep it is. Let them fucking deal with it.
I'm not opposed. If anything, we'll be like, oh, different direction.
Oh God, sorry, we didn't know this was gonna happen.
If we get to Candlekeep and can get a nice long rest in, then maybe we can deal with them. Maybe we can.
Yeah, we can prep.
Maybe we can prepare for this kind of thing.
Some of us can go and try and get information while the rest of us go set shit on fire.
But we have to rest. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no way in our
I need
current
health.
condition.
Candlekeep, go.
Candlekeep.
Tanuk, do your thing. Here,
He-
Candlekeep.
He starts plugging in the address for roughly where Candlekeep would be.
Boop, 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 boop. GPS.
So give me a survival check because this is new gate to a new gate, so it's gonna. We're gonna need a few
Everyone
successes.
or just Tanuk?
Just Thunuk, because Thunuk is the one operating
Okay.
the gate.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a 19 plus 23.
All right, 23. So that is I'll say that is your first success. We're gonna need to do We're gonna
Success here and a success there.
need 3 successes.
Great.
Destination,
we need to get
transport,
3 out of
and
5
origin.
successes before you would have to start over, because the first success is properly activating this gate. The second success you get is going to be to properly activate the second gate, the destination gate, and the third one is properly tethering
Travel.
the properly tethering the singularity wormhole to the appropriate ley line, so that you actually travel there. So that way you travel there and not lose time. You think you've sussed out that the reason why this hasn't worked in the past is that maybe the first time you did it, or one of the times that you did it, you might not have properly tethered. You activated the correct runes to tether the travel space to time. Space and time became unlinked. And as you know, that causes problems.
Second roll is 11.
11. That is not good enough.
Third roll is 10.
That is not good enough.
18.
18. So now you've got 2 out of 2. And so, okay, so you need, so as this happens, so you've been sitting there frantically like, okay, got that one. No, that one doesn't work. Boom. And that doesn't work. And as that's happening, as you're sitting there, because this is taking a few minutes, it's not like you're just, you're not just randomly pushing buttons on this. You're not doing that, you're not doing the Buddy the Elf and just, and turning on everything. But as this happens, let me get a perception roll from everybody else.
Oh, I bombed again. This is
Holy
so my
shit!
birthday.
Are you fucking kidding me? So did I.
Oh, we got a
Not fucking
double
kidding.
blomp.
2 fucking double blomps.
This is
3 now. 3. This
Whoa,
is
we got you blomped as well.
no.
Well, no, I'm talking
This is
about
the
double.
third. This is the third double blomp.
Is it?
Is it? No.
Yeah,
No,
because you
it's the
double
second-
blomped on stealth. I thought.
That was
No,
the first one.
no. That
Oh.
was Dirties. They just
Oh,
did
that's
really
Dirties.
really well
Oh.
because they both have.
Oh, I thought you
Um,
double. I thought you double blomped on a history check
Mm-mm.
for the meat snatcher. Okay.
No. He blomped, but Drenmai did not. She got just enough to pull the thread.
That made it 19.
Dude.
You have
Oh, I forgot a lot of bombs today.
No, it's fine. It's still fine. It's
Lot of bomb.
a crit. So, as he's sitting there working this out, you hear something large being drug across the ground, approaching. Like,
I start poking to the faster.
Meat snatcher. He's coming to snatch all your meats.
That's not the sound of the meat snatcher.
No.
and then you do hear a thunk.
That's the meat
That's
snatcher.
the sound of the
That's
meat snatcher.
And
faster.
from one of the from over one of the crests, you can see through the woods. You can kind of see like something passing between the trees, something large. And as it comes around and starts to come into view, you see what appears to be the corpse of a stone giant. But the corpse is like on its back with the head. It's almost as if it was draped over something where the head is hanging down in front and the arms and the legs are hanging. And
Awful.
whatever you could see coming out of the backs of the wrists of each one of the arms is this yellow and black spider-like appendage as it's moving along, and you can see that there's some other spider-like legs behind it, and the legs of this of the stone giant are dragging behind it. But out of the top of its skull, these two enormous mandibles are outside of that.
Oh, it's a
And-
Skullawada. Oh, okay.
And they're opening and closing almost like they're sniffing the air, and where its eyes should be, you could see these compound eyes poking out.
Yeah, this
The
is
mouth
awful.
is just agape, just but it's upside down. It's draped upside down over top of this thing, so it's like its the stone giant's corpse abdomen is
Hey,
facing up. We're almost like the back is on top of this thing like
You
a
fucked
shell.
up, Thunuk. This is not the right kind of spider.
And it starts. It you can see it. The head kind of moves, like in that insectoid way, and it locks on you, and it
What the hell
starts
is
to
that?
move towards you.
Yeah,
Anyone-
no faster, Thunuk, faster, faster,
Does
faster.
anyone know what
Thunuk,
that
I
is?
need you to make your next roll, but you're going to do this at disadvantage because Drenmai is sitting there poking at you and getting you freaked out.
Hey, I've been awake for a while. Do you see that as well?
That's the meat snatcher.
Is that really the meat snatcher? Okay.
I'm sorry.
Did you fuck up, kid?
I rolled a 3 and a 12, so 7.
No, that is not enough. You're going to have to start over. So for this point, let's have everyone roll initiative just so we
Wait,
have an idea.
You said 3 or 5.
He had to do best 3 out of 5. But he
Right,
has,
so he's only done 2 rolls.
That was my
no,
fifth
no,
roll.
there
that
was-
that was his fifth
There's
roll.
been some rolls.
I
So just
did
for
not
now,
do well.
we're gonna
you
I
not
roll.
good.
succeeded twice and failed twice in a row.
Oh,
We're gonna roll for initiative
taken
just so that way
advantage, my
everyone's.
man.
Oh yeah. I'd like to take advantage.
oh, it's too
Got
late
it.
now.
Too late
Yeah,
now.
it's too late.
Yeah. Let us get some just so we can appropriately order things. Let us get some initiative rolls here.
I'm at 13.
Okay. Hugon is at 13. Does anyone have between 21 and 25?
Yes,
Okay.
I have
Eno?
21.
Eno. Okay. Does anyone beat a 21? All right. Does anyone have between 16 and 20?
Yes,
What do you have?
18.
18. 18! No, that's not Hugon. That's Dren. Does anyone have... Well, so we have Hugon. You have a 13. And Thunuk?
4.
Do better.
my
You're-
boy. My boy. Today is not your day.
It
When
is
is it
not-
ever?
You've never been good at this. You've never been good at the whole initiative thing. The idea is to roll high on that, not low. But anyway, so we're going to start this over. And Thunuk, obviously... Actually, this is very apropos. Because Thunuk, you're the one that's going to have to roll... unless you want to just stop and try to fight this thing. You're gonna be rolling for your best 3 out of 5 again to see if you can't succeed
Yeah,
on this.
I think will be the distraction, Thunuk. You just focus on the gate.
So Eno, it begins with you.
How far away is this thing?
At this point, it is 50 feet away, and I'll just say you're
Right.
gonna judge by the rate it's been moving that you're gonna have one round before it's gonna be within some kind of striking distance.
All right. Eno calls upon the power of frost.
Ooh.
And I'm going to try and make a ranged spell attack. Okay, so that's 13 plus 8, so that's 21.
A 21 hits.
Okay, so it's 2d8 cold damage.
Cold damage.
Mm-hmm.
So how does this? Let's get some visual here.
So-
I want the experience, the sensory
yeah.
experience.
So Eno Eno's like, got to slow this thing down, and he takes his lute out and he strums this note, and it's a very cold. It's like a minor chord,
Mm.
and it's just it's a very wintry
So E
chord.
minor.
It's
E-
like a
Drop D.
and this blue this bluish white light streaks out towards the meat snatcher, and I do only 5 damage, but
Mhm.
5 damage, and speed is reduced by 10 feet until the start of my next turn.
Okay, so it's not gonna be able to move as quickly. Okay. All right. So this blast and like the rhyme forms on the meat shield that it's wearing right now, and it forms on the exoskeleton of it, on the it's because of the C chitin forms on the chitin of this. Drenmai, And yet it's moving a slightly slower now. Not a lot slower, but enough where you can see it's not. It's, you know.
I hear it and I
Mhm.
see it and go full panic. And it's like, you know, all those stories that grandmama told me when I was little, and then it's just like,
Oh.
it's after me. So it's bringing up
real.
some.
It's the
Yeah.
fucking meat snatcher.
Yeah, imagine all the
Yeah.
stories that you were told as a kid about like the boogeyman, right? But it turns
Exactly.
out, hey, guess what? The boogeyman.
It's real. So Dren does like a full turns, like from almost 400 years old to like 4 years old in the blink of an eye, and it's instant panic. Grabs the staff with the lantern on it and points it at it and casts lightning bolt.
So
It's
basically,
instant-
you just handed a 4-year-old a bazooka
Yeah.
and then startled it.
Oh, it's a Panzer Shrek.
So anything in 100 feet needs to make a deck save.
Okay.
So whatever's in 100-foot line between me and that way, deck save.
Okay, so let's.
And I need to do math.
All right. Well, let's see. What is the deck save that it needs to make?
14.
It makes it. So it'll take half damage.
6, 7, 8, 9. So half of that is 21. And then anything in that.
Wait.
100
Half
foot-
is 21?
Yeah, I rolled 42.
Oh my god.
Lightning bolt's badass. It's 96.
Okay. All right.
And then anything in the area is on fire.
Okay, so just there's this crack as this lightning bolt just launches out and just webs out, and
It's like a skunk, like some sort of arcane
Yeah.
skunk. Like,
Pretty much. And just this
Oh, fuck.
big ass 100 foot by 5 foot lightning bolt. Yeah,
Just-
panic.
and it's almost deafening, and for a moment your eyes are just for flavor are blinded by the light. Do not finish it. Do not finish it. Do not finish it. The smell of ozone just burns at your nostrils from this thing, and it takes it's able to kind of like move out of the way and get the meat shield in the way. Like it's able to shake the meat shield into its in place, but still takes the shock and takes some damage here. But now the ground between you and it is starting to burn.
Oh yeah, shit's on fire.
And the grass is starting to burn. Not a lot. There's a lot more smoke than there is fire because it's wet. So fortunately this wasn't done in the middle of autumn after a dry spell. But now it is its turn, and it scuttles forward. And as it scuttles forward, Drenmai, it lifts its head, which basically is showing you the top of the stone giant's apparently emptied skull, and it out of its mouth this green ichor
I hate it.
is projected out at you. And it does not. It is probably still like a little jittery from the electric shock. So unless a
Twitch,
12 hits,
twitch.
does a 12 hit?
No.
And-
no.
But this gray ichor sprays out very much like almost like silly string, and it misses you. But behind you, you can hear almost like this, not sizzle. It's as if it's the sound. If you've ever used the liquid insulation called Great Stuff, it's a spray foam insulation that as you spray it, then it grows, and there's the sound of like all the air bubbles
It's
escaping.
Sandy foam.
Yeah, basically that's what happens as it lands next to you, as it solidifies
Okay.
into this green.
oh, it's a riot foam spider. Oh,
Okay.
So and it's moving up, and now within. Not only does it have this, in the next turn, it's going to be close enough to you to actually start doing things. Hugon,
yes.
it is your turn.
Hmm. trying to decide what to do here. Because there are options.
But there always are. Most of them are sharp.
It's true. It's true.
What would a very tired Hugon do?
Hit it with the sharp end.
Aside from wishing he was not tired for this,
If only we had a wish spell.
a wish would be
We're
great.
not there yet. I'm
Amazing.
not quite there.
Mm-mm.
Um,
And they're dangerous.
I don't like the spell wish or miracle for that matter. I don't like those spells. They break games. Man, I think he'll set up just like a defensive posture in front of
So hold
like
action.
a little bit away from Thunuk.
Okay. So you're basically like you're holding action, you're just ready to go, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he's in like a defensive stance or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Thunuk. What I would like for you to do before you do your first roll to see if you're going to be able to do your first check here.
Are we skipping Eno?
No, Eno went first.
He went first.
I was at
He did the
top.
cold.
And he
That's right.
He colded it.
My bad.
He did do a
He
cold.
colded it. Thunuk,
Yes.
what I would like from you to make sure because of everything that was happening so fast, and now there's this thing, and Dreadmai was poking at you, and just I need you to make a wisdom saving throw. And if you make the saving throw, then you will be able to shed off all of this panic and be able to do this fine. But if you do not, for this round, you will need to do this at disadvantage.
25.
You make your saving throw.
Well done.
So, yeah.
I'll make the other throw.
Yeah. So Thunuk is able to, you're able to like just, no, that's food, and I am not scared of food. Even though it's trying to eat my friends, I will not be scared of my food. Because, it has like these spider-looking legs. And after it got hit by the lightning bolt, there was a bit of a waft. And it's, maybe the stomach starts to grumble, and you're like, man, those are the biggest spider legs I've ever seen.
It's like smelling fried chicken when you're not really hungry, but you're like, no, I want fried chicken.
But imagine it's
Yep.
it's a chicken the size of a horse.
For me, that's like garlic. When
Because
I start
that's
cooking
about-
garlic. It's like, oh, it's food time.
Yeah.
Mm,
And
so
that's
good.
about the size of this thing. The thing without the stone
Garlic?
giant, your finger is
Wow.
about the size of a horse. A large draft horse.
Wait, but it's wearing a stone giant.
it's wearing
Yeah.
a stone giant.
Like a house.
Like
So this is more like
Okay.
a hermit crab from hell,
okay.
which is like a water spider.
Yeah.
Well, it's,
Mhm.
Arachnid type
It's a
thing.
land hermit crab, which basically is just a land spider, which is really
It's a
cute.
robber crab.
rubber crab. Oh yeah.
So let us get your first. We just said that we always said this would be a nature survival check, right? To put the
Mhm.
put the codes in.
Let me verify that number. Just to add here.
Okay.
See, that hasn't changed since I last saw it. 14.
Damn, 14. That is enough.
Okay.
You make your first one. So now Eno. You have established. You have now activated this gate, Thunuk. So now, yes, Eno.
Well, he still has to go through more things, right?
He's
That
got
was-
2 more
Okay.
successes he needs. The next one will be to
right.
activate the exit gate, and the third one is to properly tether the wormhole to the proper ley line and to space time, so that way you don't
Okay.
end up in the past or in the future.
So you hear Eno say, "Desperate times. Hold my bones. I'm going in." And he's got the horns on his head, and the horns on his head, the horns start shifting into one horn, and his body starts melting into this different shape, and
Are you a rhinoceros?
It becomes longer and longer, and he turns into a triceratops.
Oh, well, that's pretty fucking cool. I thought it was gonna be a rhinoceros, but
Yeah. So there's like this I have morphed into a triceratops. Now I don't believe I can make a move after. Like that's my action.
That's your
So
action is because you use
That's your
polymorph for
action.
this. What?
yeah. So I'm now there's now a big triceratops.
Bards get polymorph now?
Level
Wow.
9 bards do.
Jesus Christ.
So right now,
I might
okay.
have to start playing a caster. This is getting a little...
So the visual here is that we've got this is what I see, right? So like Thinix frantically blah 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 blah, and we have the lightning bolt, and then so Hugon takes his defensive posture and he's ready, and then behind him you hear like and the Triceratops steps next to Hugon in another defensive posture.
I have an idea. I would like to release my held action and mount
Mount it.
Triceratops, like a horse.
I will allow it
All right.
because
So,
now
Armor comes out, halberd in one hand, mounting the Triceratops. Because it's
Okay.
fucking go time.
I love this fucking game. All right. So you've oh my god, this is amazing.
And this is where Immigrant Song begins to play.
Okay, but Drenmai, it is your turn.
Okay.
You have Hugon now mounted atop a Triceratops, which I'm gonna say, Hugon, you're also now gonna have +2 AC because you're behind the Triceratops frill,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's only fair that you're
Yeah.
riding, but you can still,
Interesting.
yeah, because it just, that the whole, Jesus Christ,
Okay.
I
So
should not have allowed
still
this because
being in full
this is gonna bite me in the
panic
ass later.
Mount your friends.
mode. Mount your friends.
Whoa. TOS.
Still being in full panic mode. I think like the lightning bolt was her initial like response
Yeah.
panic.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, this bad thing, let's do bad thing back.
Mm-hmm.
No like. Hurt.
No like. So I'm gonna cast Blight. And the necromantic part of Dren kind of comes to light, and I need him to make a con save
Con save
of 14 as well.
does not make the con save.
Good. Because that means I get to do some
I
necromancy.
feel like that
on
dice
him.
tower is like actively keeping you from rolling well. I know.
Let's see. Hold on. I gotta do math again. 1, 2,
I might need to reconfigure it because maybe that's the common thing. I don't know.
4.
How many
7.
dice? are you
Well, that's a
rolling?
lot of good rolls. I have to roll 8d8. That's 50 damage. So-
Jesus.
Necromantic energy just goes over him, and then it starts draining his moisture and vitality from him.
I'm draining of it all. I'm draining
I
it of all of
don't
its
like it.
moisture.
I don't
no
like
longer-
it. I want it to go away.
It is no
It's
longer
now-
moist.
It's now not moist.
It is not moist.
I want Hugon to just basically want to bash into it, and it explodes into ashes. That's what I want.
So Blight, and again, we see the lantern do its reverse.
very
When the
dark.
lightning
Very dark.
was cast, it illuminates, and the lightning emanates out of it and just explodes out of it, as if it was too much energy for the lantern to control. But now we have the opposite again, where it's drawing the light around it in like a black hole, and for some reason with Blight, I always hear like that descending low note of, like this resonance of
Bass sort of thing.
of light being drawn, of life being drawn out of this as it's slowly being desiccated, and you see you hear a crackling noise as the meat shield, the stone giant meat shield, like shrivels some, and you see that like the gums recede from the teeth a little bit, and you see that the skin retreats and recedes from the fingernails, making it look like they're growing, and it looks like the hair grows. When in reality, all it is that it's the skin
It's just
desiccating,
being sucked in.
being sucked in. And the same thing, like the creature shudders and like, kind of creeps in lower, and you can start to see like vague vague cracks in the chitin, like almost like it's underneath. Like there's like a layer, and then deep within it, you're starting to see like little as you hear like this the cracking of it, almost like ice on a lake as it begins
Good.
to crack.
Die.
Get
So
over
it's
the meat snatcher.
it's not looking. I mean, it's not looking
I
dead.
don't want my meat snatched.
Yeah.
Not
But
today.
now it skitters forward now to you, Hugon and Eno and Drenmai. And I do know, that you do get an attack of opportunity, if I remember, when it arrives within your space.
If it enters my area that I threat, I do get to hit it. So
You can take your attack of opportunity.
All
I'm
right.
gonna hit it.
All right. I'm gonna go for a gore.
Oh, we both get one.
Yeah.
Baller.
Oh, that's good. That's a 27 to hit.
No, I'm kidding. It hits.
18 to hit.
18 does in fact hit.
Does in fact hit.
So roll some damage.
Well,
damage.
bam! I'm gonna re-roll that with Great Weapon Fighting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's much better.
Give me some
3
damage.
ones. Fuck you, dice.
Sorry.
That's still 15 damage. 15
Okay.
piercing damage.
All
10
right.
damage.
And then, okay. All right. But now it is going to do its attack. And its first attack is it's going to rear up and attack with 2 of its front pointed legs. And it's going after... it's actually going to go after you, Hugon. It's going to...
Okay.
So it's going to do... does a 17 hit?
Does not.
Okay.
One shy.
And that one definitely does not hit. Okay. And then while it's up there too, it quick turns its head and it cacks again at over at in Drenmai's direction.
It bet on you.
And it does not it's not
Like
it's
that
not able
cat
to
girl.
just it just and it misses as well, but more of this green, ichor foamy stuff comes out. And it has a bit of an acrid or a bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? Not the smell of acetone almost. It has a very I don't know if that'd be it wouldn't be an acerbic smell. It would be a I don't know if that's the correct, because acerbic I think acid, and this is more on the alkaline side. So very alkaline. That's what I'm thinking. A very alkaline smell to it. Thunic. It is your turn.
For a success.
Let's try for a success.
Ooh, it is a unnatural 20.
An unnatural 20. That is your second success. So now you've pressed the correct runes in order to activate the opposite, the exit gate now. So now when you get around to you again, it's now going to be for tethering everything properly together, so that way you don't end up in some weird space or time.
Like last time, like that one time when we went to the Shadow Bill.
Or there's that, right?
Yeah.
But now we're back to Eno.
All right. Again, I move my head and okay. That's a 20, dirty 20.
Dirty 20 hits.
Plus, 11 plus 9.
That is definitely a hit.
All right. So
The hits keep on coming.
yeah.
Coming in at number 10.
Did we skip Hugon?
No, you mounted. Oh shoot, we did.
Ah.
Let us.
Sorry.
We're gonna. No. I'm sorry. I. Mounting was not an action. Mounting.
I'm gonna
Happy
attack
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I'm gonna attack it an awful lot. I'm gonna do a lot of attacks on it. I'm gonna hit it until I can't hit it anymore.
That's usually a good way to go.
So, first attack. I don't remember. Do I get advantage on these? No.
No, that was for stealth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I have advantage because I'm mounted on a Triceratops?
No, you cannot. Do you have that as a?
I don't.
Feature.
Do you have the high ground?
But it's the same size.
Yeah, it's a big.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's relative to us. Yeah. Okay. First is a 16, 24 total.
24 hits.
Second is a 15 total.
does not hit.
Third is a what the fuck is that?
Math.
8
8
plus
does
12. 20.
20
Does
does yeah.
dirty
A dirty 20 hits.
So that's 2d10 plus a d4.
Nasty 20, filthy 20, a naughty 20.
I'm using Great Weapon Fighting to re-roll that. I have to take that roll. Fuck. 11, 15, so plus 10, it's 25, plus 3. It's 28 damage.
Oh my god, 20.
And then I action surge and do 2 more attacks.
Jesus Christ.
Because fuck this thing. It's 21.
That hits.
That's a 20.
That hits.
Actually, shave off 6 points of damage from that 28 because I missed my second attack.
Oh, okay, that is true.
So 22 the first time.
Okay,
I
let me
hit
do math here. Okay, all right.
Okay. Now I'm going to roll 2d10.
Okay.
That's actually pretty decent. 24.
24. Jesus. It's not.
And now my
looking
turn
good.
is over.
Now it is not looking good. Thunic. Oh no, you already did yours. Eno.
I did my thing.
Eno,
That's right. No,
Yeah.
okay, there we go.
kill
Got
this
it.
fucking thing.
So my attack roll stands, right?
Yes, it does. Yeah, we're not
Oh,
gonna
alright.
completely undo time.
All right, cool. Oh, that's good. All right, so that's what is that? 20. So 2 5s, 2 8s. That's 26 plus 6. So that's 31. 32. 32. I can math.
32 points of
32
damage.
points of damage. So he's just he slams the spear head into the thing.
So, Eno, how do you want to do this?
Ha ha! I just roar. I can't talk, but I mean the roar is, looks like the meat's gone bad. That's
Snatch this meat.
Yeah,
Itch.
if you could understand what he said. Actually, I still have tongues going, but I don't. Actually, yeah, I still have tongues going. I don't know if that
Tongues
works.
isn't is tongues concentration?
Oh, is it?
I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, you hear this roar. The head just slams into this thing, cuts off the spider leg. Just meat's everywhere. I don't know.
There's a gush
Not
of
meat
ichor.
because it's not.
Oh,
it
yeah,
doesn't
ichor.
have much vitality to it because I
All right.
sucked
Yeah,
it all dry.
whatever ichor is left. Not a lot of it. It's a little bit thicker now than it would have been usually, but just gore as you lift up. And the thing is up. The legs are up in the air, and it's doing that kind of like weird, as you've pierced some part of its nervous system, and you shake, and it just rips the bottom of this thing open, and underneath you're seeing like it's almost like the horseshoe crab, like feelers. If you've ever
Blue
seen
blood. Oh.
yeah, like the horseshoe crab like leg things underneath, but you've torn into it, and just as you're lifting it up and you're shaking it, and then this whatever vital fluids is left just pours out all over you, all over Hugon.
Does Hugon have a shield? Can he like?
No,
hold it?
Hugon is shieldless. He just kind of has to go like he just looks up into it and like
just
no,
um
I don't like it.
and then you're able to shake it off, and it just falls to the ground, and there's like the last little twitch as it hits, and then just it's lifeless. Its lifeless corpse just lays there. And Thunic, let us get your last check here, because we're out of initiative because it's dead. And
Okay.
Unless
Hey,
someone
we
wants
killed a cryptid. We killed a cryptid. Cryptid kill. Achievement.
Achievement unlocked. I'll have to
13.
build that. 13. You're able to plug in the final runes, and the gate hums. As you know, you've now properly tethered everything to where it's supposed to be, and it does the normal splashing water event horizon thing as it activates, and it shimmers blue and white in between this ancient gate, and you're able now to pass through and leave the smoldering wreckage of the meat snatcher as the fire that was started from the lightning bolt begins to smolder and die down. It's moist enough that it wasn't able to ever really take. There is a black scorch mark from where Dren had cast this thing. And
what did the babushkas do?
they weren't around. They were
Thank Christ
they're
for that.
involved in the spider blood war. And you're all able to step through the gate on your way to Candlekeep.
Amazing.
And that is where we will end today's game.
Peace.
Peace out. So,
Deuces.
man,
Throwing up the deuces.
yeah, it was so much fun to play Dungeons and Dragons again. It's been too long.
Yeah.
I feel good now. It's like, yeah, that guy, yeah, okay. It is birthday. It is Clu's birthday today, by the way. She
It is?
slipped
Well,
that
happy
in.
goddamn birthday.
She slipped that in where she had 2 birthday womps.
Oh, that's right.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
my friend. I don't know if I can speak for everyone here, but I think I can when I'm saying I am very happy that you were born. I am very happy that you survived yet another orbit around our sun, and thank you for being you. So,
Thanks, friends.
and I feel
Now
about you guys
go
that
get
like every day.
wrecked.
Now go get after. No, we're gonna come back in just a minute with Table Talk. Clues, will you be joining us, or do you need to run for Table Talk? It's okay if you do.
We can just do a quick one.
Okay, we'll do a quick
I'm
Table
gonna
Talk.
go get birthday breakfast.
Oh, birthday breakfast, even better.
Now I
Um,
want breakfast.
Eggs Benedict.
So I'm going to take us out real quick, and we'll be right back with our Table Talk, with employees of note, moments of the game, any other little things that we need to discuss, and then we'll wrap it up. So we'll be right back. Okay, we're back for Table Talk. That was the briefest. Imagine a short rest.
Table talk.
So, in addition to having
One
fun
might
playing
say micro rest.
micro rest, which I don't know if that does anything, but here we go. We're gonna see where we start. We start in quadrant 2, which is none other than Ivan Martino.
I'm in quadrant 1.
You're right. Quadrant 2 is Gideon.
Oh man. Shit.
I wasn't prepared for this.
Play of the game's got to be Triceratops.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So that's,
Easy.
I mean, easily the coolest goddamn thing I've gotten to do in a D&D game
Ride a dinosaur.
ever is like literally ride a goddamn dinosaur, a smart one, which was that's
And
like
I want to
third
say it's
bucket list.
canon that he talked. I don't even care what the rules
Oh,
are.
for
He
sure.
talked.
Tongues actually isn't concentration, so it was still active. So if it's ruled that you can understand that
Mm-hmm.
roar,
Yeah.
then you understood that I said the meat's gone bad.
The meat's
Right.
gone
The
bad.
meat shall
The
go
meat's gone
unsnatched.
It is ruled so.
But the blood homunculus was great. The spider buffet. I shout in spider as if they have a universal language. All of that was pretty fantastic.
Agreed.
But gotta definitely throw the MVP down on Eno. Like that was hilariously cool and totally just a spur of the moment, which is what made it so fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So as we unspool, now we're back to Ivan Martino. And one day I'm going to say his name correctly.
Meh.
I'm going to keep saying it until... Meh. Meh.
I'm going to say that the whole blood pit thing was just the weirdest and most terrible thing because I can smell it and I can smell what it smells like
It's like being near a tannery.
Yeah.
It's
It's-
a very metallic, coppery smell.
See, I don't have a sense of smell, or rather, one acute enough to detect that. I know that blood has a taste.
Have you ever tasted a penny?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know
that's
it
what
has
it
a taste.
smells like.
Oh, well, that's awful.
It
Yeah.
smells like a
It
penny
is.
taste.
It's not good.
Yeah, super gross. And the I don't know where you got it from, but the meat snatcher is interesting.
In a bad way.
In a bad way.
Interesting, like,
Chaotic, weird.
Yeah,
let's get
Yeah.
weird.
Don't be the stranger, be the strangest. I like it.
I got that purely for my character.
Excellent. I love it.
It's a good sticker.
Unspooling further over to Miss Birthday Girl's clues.
Yeah, definitely MVP has to be Hugon riding Triceratops scene. And then, man, I don't know. Calling forth the spiders was fun, especially because, like, I know the exact two scenes that you're talking about with the tree ants and then the legs coming in, and it's like shit starts moving. It's very creepy. Are we still doing the inanimate object thing that's the best?
Sure, if you want. You can listen, we can do whatever we want. There's no rules here.
Yeah, I mean, most things got animated, even blood mini friends.
The blood was animated, so there's not much that wasn't moving of its own accord today.
Yeah, there wasn't much that was not moving in this particular episode. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that was literally
that rock
inanimate
that did
alive.
not come to life and did not move. We love that rock because it was the
That's
least
true.
creepy thing.
Our geocaching rock.
Oh, that's right, geocaching. That's right.
Yes,
I had that.
that'll be
Fearbold
my inanimate.
geocaching.
Yeah, fearful geocaching.
Like
I now like when we start talking about that, Dren wants to make a pet rock for Thunuk.
oh, adorable.
Except it's like Hank the Beetle. He just
Yeah.
doesn't move very much.
it's,
Yeah.
it's
Exactly.
this rock looks like a beetle. It is a beetle. It hasn't moved.
It
It's
is a
very
beetle.
tired.
Yeah.
He sleeps a lot.
It sleeps a lot.
Yes.
Roz.
You know, as much as I loved turning into the Triceratops, I have to say that my favorite moment was when I cast tongues and I told the Babushkas, I said, why are you here? Who are you going after? And then I turned to Hugon and said, hey, I can talk to them. What do you want me to say? And he said, we have to run now. And I said, hey, we're going to run now. That was my favorite moment.
That was some good Stooges. That was some.
And
good
then you
Stooges
hit me, and I'm
moment.
like, hey,
I'm gonna have to.
I'm just doing what you said.
I'm gonna have to.
That was
find
the best. I
Yeah,
can't.
that was excellent.
That was good.
I still can't
It
get
was
over
funny.
how funny that was.
Excellent. Some of the notes I have here. The fact that we have a name now, and we'll have to let's see if it sits. Bibushka. We'll have to see if that.
Well,
if
they're
that
not
sits.
bees.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
no.
but
I think
they
we're on.
have bees.
Well, they have
They're-
wasps.
No, wasps.
But you're like Satan's.
But
bees.
I think we have a starting point for the name of these things. I
You
think
know who
Bibushka
could
is a
come
good
up
place.
with a really messed up appropriate name?
So what I'm going to
Shroud.
do is I'm going to actually tweet a picture of that
Or
because everyone's
Robin.
seen that picture of
Oh,
the
yeah.
doll with the wasp nest. I'm going to tweet that out and
With
we'll,
the Garuda.
with the Garuda, and we'll say
this
that
plus this.
yeah, and then we're going to
What's it
say we're starting with this, but let's see what because I'm sure the interwebs has some good things to say about this. I think it was funny when you just little things that I thought were funny. When Eno and Hugon, hey, this wasn't a great first experience. Hugon saying to sacrifice the old and the young. When we talked about Fearbolgs having sugar gliders living in their beards. Fearbolg geocaching, which I think is just now needs to. That's like a video game waiting to happen, right? It's just like it's a Fearbolg wandering the Chondawood trying to find things, but it's like an MMO where it's like you put things down and it's just friendly fun. There's no battle. It's just hey, I'm trying to find these things, and is it
Point
up?
and
Is it
click.
down? Yeah. It's kind of like Shadow of the Colossus, where you knew which direction the Colossus was, but it gave you a straight line, and you could never get there in a straight line. You had to figure out how to navigate to these inaccessible areas. We talked about sharing drinks with Alexi and Eno talking about sharing drinks. I thought that was kind of funny about how it's neither safe nor sanitary. I have something here. Hour and 23 minutes into the stream. Blood. Hour and 54 minutes into it.
Probably me calling it from
Probably.
the nether.
Then I have blood for
Or five
free.
faces.
Then I have blood for free, so I'm not sure. There's a lot of blood in this episode.
There's a lot of blood.
In
This
going on.
economy?
In this oh yeah, that's what it was. Blood for free in this economy.
With
That's
the
what
power
it
of the
was.
Zen.
With the power of the yen, yeah. With the just
of
the
the yen.
introduction of the meat snatcher, and everyone's react. I think it was more Eno and Dren's reaction to the meat snatcher, which I think I really need to like stat out more than I did. But I think that might be
Psychological damage.
when eventually there is something on the DM's Guild for the Adventurer's Guide to the Chandlewood. I think the meat snatcher will have to be in there.
And then like you find out that the meat snatcher's just like it's like a normal.
It's mundane.
It's a normal member of its species. They
Yeah.
get that big. They wear giants' clothes.
Well, it's like a hermit crab. A hermit crab will get as big as the house it has.
Mhm.
So if you only keep it in small shells, it'll never get bigger. But if you give it like a coffee can, eventually it'll grow into the size of a coffee can. Spiders. I have it different than spider buffet. So there might have been there's two different discussions of spiders here within about 10 minutes of each other.
It's the visual of the spiders. appearing
Oh
from
no,
these-
there was also the they might not. We're trying to call them up and like they might not want to come because I eat them all. The time.
Oh, there might have been that. Yeah.
Yeah.
A Dren yelling "run." I thought that was just a cool moment of send that out and run. You know, like that's a really good
Run.
like really good like horror movie thing where it's just like not even like screaming, it's just run and just like it's just the urgency there. Spider buffet, which was amazing. I have meat snatcher in here again. Yeah, hold
The
my
word
bones.
Meat snatcher over and over and over again.
Hold my bones, transforming into a Triceratops, mounting the Triceratops. I do think is I think that's the MVP moment because both of those. I mean, calling the spiders was an honorable mention for like, and blood homunculi are honorary mentions for like what the fuck cool moments of the game. But I think that the mounting of the Triceratops, because now I know this is going to be a thing. I know that this is not the last time that we're going to see Hugon or anything else. It could be hell. All of you could potentially mount a Triceratops and ride into battle. It's a thing. So yeah, we have some good clips that I'm looking forward to pulling and posting throughout the week and putting into next week's previously on. Do we have any other announcements that we need to make? Any other general pieces that we need to attend to before we release clues back into the wild to consume?
Nothing springs to mind.
My insane work schedule is finally evened out, so I get to actually do late to the game again.
My insane work schedule has not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It remains shit.
Yeah. Sorry.
What are we playing this week on Late to the Game?
Yeah, I don't know. I finished Banner Saga, and then everything went to hell, and I never got to do any planning.
Well, we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
I might stream some Magic the Gathering Arena this week, depending on how my schedule looks.
Ooh.
If I've got a whole bunch of projects that I just got contracted to, and audiobooks are a lengthy and time-consuming process to produce. So,
Yes.
but if I can get like an hour here and there, I'm gonna probably play.
Is that Morgic? Are you showing us Morgic cards?
Morgic chords.
You're doing.
Yes, Morgic chords. So I might play a little bit this week online. We'll have to see. I've got a pretty nice deck that I've named "Stop Hitting Yourself" that I'd like to continue to see if it works.
Oh, I wrote something down.
Yes.
It's something I remember listening to on an article on NPR when they're talking with a biologist who was doing jungle recordings.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so there is a language of the jungle that goes between animals, and they don't know. They basically all speak to each other in their own languages.
Oh,
And
interesting.
so when they recorded sounds of when jaguars showed up, and when eagles showed up,
Mm-hmm.
and the animals at different tiers of the canopy will start making sounds, but they'll all make very similar sounds for first predator, and then where is the predator? Up in the sky or on the ground?
Huh.
That's interesting.
Wild.
And
I
then
mean,
they'll
it makes sense, but
a
wild.
completely different sound for humans are here. humans have arrived.
It's just a retching noise.
It's both predatory and like, this is a curious thing.
Mm-hmm.
You want to come check this out? Humans.
They might eat us, but they might not.
But they might not.
They might put a mirror in here and like videotape us being assholes about it.
It's a thing. It is a thing. Oh, we also did some math. That 5 cubic feet of blood is the equivalent of 30 people of blood.
30 people.
5 by 5 by 5 foot of is 125 cubic feet, which is 980 somewhat gallons of blood.
Mm-hmm. And we figured it out, and it is 30 people of blood. So there was 30 people of blood used.
Honestly, I just tossed that number out there. I think there might be more.
We said it was 900. We did the math in between,
299.2 gallon or pints. Yeah,
Yeah.
299.2 pints
No,
is 5 cubed.
we figured it out, but we figured it was 30
Yeah.
people. So,
Still
So-
seems like a low number.
um,
I mean, I'm in favor for the horror aspect of it being like just a truckload.
Well, it's almost 10 barrels. No, it's more than 10. It's almost 20 barrels of blood, like 55-gallon
was-
barrels.
37.4 gallons is what 5 foot cubed is.
a 5 cubic foot.
Well, you said 5 by 5 by 5.
Yeah, 5. No,
That's
5
five
cubic.
to
No,
the
no,
third.
5 cubic feet.
5 to the third is 125. That's 125 cubic feet.
According to this, and for liquid, it's 37.4 gallons. Is
But
5 foot
is the
cubed.
spell
No.
5 foot aside, or is it 5 cubic feet? They're two different
It's
Is it-
things.
five.
cubic.
It's a cube with 5
It's a cube.
foot sides.
It's a cubes with 5 foot sides.
Oh, then it's
That's-
significantly more.
then that's 5 by 5, which is 25 times 5, which is 125.
Oh, we need to redo the
Cubic
math.
feet.
Anyway, we'll do
So that's- yeah.
we'll do it offline because people need to eat. So yeah, I think if
so much blood.
stay tuned because this might be our new time slot, and we could do Sunday morning breakfast D&D.
D&Ds.
We're going to figure out something that rolls up the tongue a little bit better. Sunday morning breakfast something.
Breakfast Club?
The Sunday morning breakfast cereal with D&D, and it's just a box of D&Dos, and I don't know, something. We'll figure it out. Anyway, guys, it was awesome to play with you once again. I'm looking forward to continuing playing with you in the future. Hopefully next week. Hopefully none of us are incapacitated. Everyone in the chat, thank you very much for joining us. As always, for jumping on in. We appreciate you. And we will be back this week. So we'll see you on the Tweetsores and on the interwebs. And have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.